Chapter 207. After the ceremony. The Dojo of Limit's world headquarters, within the metallic passageway of the enormous spaceship. The black-clothed man Hong was in front, while Luo Feng followed behind him. Ka! The metallic door automatically opened. After Hong and Luo Feng walked through, the metallic door automatically closed again. Luo Feng, the first time you saw our Dojo of Limit's headquarters, did you suspect this enormous spaceship is a real spaceship or a simulated one? The black-clothed man said. Luo Feng slightly froze, saying, I guessed, but it was just a sliver of suspicion. Let me tell you, this is a real interstellar spaceship. Hong said. Really? Luo Feng couldn't help but to be shocked as he observed the passageway. At this time, Hong had already entered a secret room. Luo Feng followed. There was only one large display screen in the room. This is a damaged interstellar battleship. Hong's expression was calm. Back then when I discovered it, it was already damaged and couldn't fly into the universe. However, even if this interstellar battleship is an empty shell, its defense still far surpasses any other headquarter building on Earth. After I had the power, I took it out from underground, with the interstellar battleship as the headquarters of our Dojo of Limits. Even laser cannons can't break through the interstellar battleship. Hong pointed at the display screen. Immediately, the screen lit up and displayed a picture of the universe. This universe isn't as simple as many normal people on Earth think. We humans on Earth are very arrogant sometimes. We haven't even discovered many of the animals and plants on the land. There are even countless animals and plants in the ocean that we haven't discovered yet. Which means, even Earth itself doesn't understand many things. Some people confidently say that there are no other intelligent life forms in the universe, only humans. Don't you think that's funny? Hong looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng slightly nodded. Indeed, humans in the ancient times thought that the Earth was flat. Only later did they realize that the world was round. Humans in the ancient times thought that the Earth was the center and the sun revolved around the Earth. Only later did they realize that the Earth revolved around the sun. Humans always think that they have grasped everything when they understand a little. Only later did they realize how wrong they were. They didn't even understand many of the species on Earth and many theories. They just relied on some simple theories to determine the Milky Way galaxy and determined that there was only one intelligent life form on Earth, humans. Very dogmatic. Very funny. Humans have yet to explore much of the boundless ocean. And the universe is countless times wider than the ocean? Billions of times? Billions of times? Far more than that. The infinite universe was not something that humans confined to Earth could judge. Isn't this the same as a frog sitting at the bottom of a well thinking that the sky is as big as the mouth of the well? Hong shook his head. The civilizations and races in the universe are extremely complicated and mysterious. Luo Feng, look at the screen for the true levels of a fighter and spirit reader. Hong pointed at the screen. The screen immediately displayed the details of the fighter, spirit reader, student, star traveler, star level, universe level. Each level was divided into 9 ranks, and on the screen there were descriptions of star-level warriors, and even universe-level warriors' powers recorded on the screen. My God! Luo Feng was completely shocked. From the bald crystal person, he knew that a universe-level warrior was terrifying, but looking at the video, it was obviously different. A city was annihilated just like that? Meteorite. What's that? A white dwarf star. Luo Feng was shocked as he looked at the white planet on the screen. The video recorded 2 powerful fighters on the white planet, landing on the planet and killing each other. There was even a description beside the video. It was a white dwarf star with a gravity 300 million times that of Earth. Gravity 300 million times. The highest gravity Luo Feng had in the elite training camp's archaeological ruin gravity room was only 1,000 times. compared to 300 million times, who knew how far off it was? 300 million times, this wasn't just a simple number. Under such a terrifying gravitational force, even atoms would be crushed. According to Earth's theory, humans couldn't possibly fight on a white dwarf star. Fighting on a white dwarf star. Unbelievable, right? However, how can Earth's science research fully understand the human body's true secrets? Can they imagine that there's a miniature planet in the human body? That it can create a magnetic field? A person weighing only a few hundred kilograms, punching out thousands or tens of thousands of tons of force, does this conform to Earth's science? Hong said indifferently. The more you research, the more you realize your own ignorance. Luo Feng agreed with this sentence. This video completely shocked Luo Feng. No matter how much the bald crystal person said, it wasn't as shocking as this video. This is a video of a universe-level fighters battle, the only video that I've obtained that records a universe-level fighters battle. Hong looked at the video, his eyes filled with yearning. A universe-level fighter can cross the universe and battle with a universe interstellar battleship with his body. Even surviving on a white dwarf star, a universe-level fighter can easily wipe out all of Earth's humans like eating a meal. A Star Traveler-level fighter, in the universe, can barely be a bodyguard or a fighter, just to make a living. Only a star-level fighter can be considered a big figure. A universe-level fighter, that's what you call a real tyrant. If you join any universe country, you'll have a large amount of planet territory and control over 100 billion citizens. Even though Hong's voice sounded calm, there was a slight tremble in it. However, this tremble was almost undetectable. Hong turned to look at Luo Feng. Luo Feng's eyes were burning as he watched the video. When will he be able to fight under 300 million times the gravity? However, according to what the bald crystal person said, there's only one universe-level fighter born in countless planets. Luo Feng, said Hong in a low voice. Head Luo Feng looked towards Hong. Your brain expanse is very high. Even though I don't have the means to completely test it, your experience in archaeological ruin number 9 proved this point, said Hong in a low voice. Hong said in a low voice, your spirit reader talent might not be much in the vast universe, but at least on Earth, your spirit reader talent is number 1. Hong stared at Luo Feng. Thunder God and I are the most talented fighters. He and I are the 2 strongest people on Earth. Your spirit reader talent is number 1 on Earth, so I hope that you won't slack off at all. Don't get complacent just because you've become famous on Earth. In the vast universe, us humans on Earth are just natives of a planet. Earth's position depends on us. Even the future of humanity on Earth depends on us. Hong stared at Luo Feng. Luo Feng nodded heavily. Understood, head. At this moment, Luo Feng finally understood why Hong and Thunder God are so much stronger than other people, and why they are still improving without slacking off. On the same day, Hong brought Luo Feng on their autojets and headed towards the continent of Australia's Misty Island. Even though Luo Feng received the information of his relatives from Lu Yanfa, his father's body hasn't recovered yet, so he can't visit his relatives far away. And once his parents find out about this information, they probably won't be able to wait any longer. So Luo Feng didn't give the information to his parents yet. He'll wait until his father's body gets better. He's already waited for 20 years, so half a year doesn't matter. A blood-red triangular fighter jet was in front, and a dark blue triangular fighter jet followed behind. Luo Feng, Hong, and Thunder God were all in the blood-red triangular fighter jet. We've arrived at the Misty Island, said Hong. The 3D projection within the cabin had long displayed the scenery below. Luo Feng looked at the huge lake that had a circumference of 100 kilometers. Around the lake, there were large amounts of saucer fighter jets, triangular fighter jets, etc. There were even a few bases that were currently under construction. Luo Feng couldn't help but to be shocked. Head, this is the Misty Island? Of course it's the Misty Island, nodded Hong. But, Luo Feng looked at the misty island displayed in the 3 holograms and was extremely shocked. This misty island lake has no more mist, and even the island in the middle of the lake has disappeared. All that's left is a vast expanse of whiteness. No mist, no island in the middle of the lake. Is this the misty island he came to before? The coordinates are correct. Luo Feng looked at the coordinates on his tactical communications watch and was even more shocked. Ever since I took away the vine life form on the misty island, the mist on the misty island has disappeared, said Hong. The coordinates are correct. Hong said, as for the island, it was destroyed in a huge battle not long ago. At least the surface of the island was destroyed. As for the deeper parts of the island, they were all submerged, destroyed an entire island. Luo Feng was shocked. What kind of battle can destroy an island with a circumference of 10 kilometers? It's probably at least at the level of the vine life form. Luo Feng, the white-robed thunder god on the side, pointed at the vast white lake. This misty isle lake is very strange. There are a lot of water monsters in there, and they are very strong. Moreover, there was also a terrifying monster with 13 long tentacles among them. It's the 3rd monster emperor we discovered on Earth. Monster emperor? Luo Feng couldn't believe it. That lake, he was once so close to her that he almost lost his life. If there was a monster emperor that was even more terrifying than a king-level monster, he would have died a long time ago. This fog isle is very strange, Hong also said solemnly. A small island has given birth to a large number of vegetation spirits. It could even give birth to a terrifying existence like the vine. Aside from that, the density of monster kings in the water is much higher than in the ocean. There's also a monster emperor. The vine lifeforms, the flora spirits, and the monster emperors are all gathered here. Almost all the forces on Earth believe that there is a treasure here. After all, the previous discoveries of ancient civilization ruins weren't this exaggerated. The discovery this time is probably going to be earth-shattering. Hong pointed at the surroundings of the 3D projection of the lake. Look, those disc-shaped fighter jets, those bases. They're all from the 5 great countries, the big headquarter cities, and some representative fighters. There are even over 20 laser cannons around the Fog Isle Lake. Hong looked towards Luo Feng. Luo Feng was clearly a bit shocked. Laser cannons that can kill an emperor-level monster, and there are over 20 of them here? Whoever gets the treasure will have to depend on luck, instructed Hong. If you're not interested, you can go back. If you're interested, then set up camp around the Fog Isle. However, I don't have a place to entertain you, so go back to your autojet. Yes, Luo Feng nodded and directly headed outside. Remember, if you meet that monster emperor, don't fight it head-on. Use your flying speed to escape, instructed Hong, and Luo Feng walked out of the cabin door. Jumping off the fighter jet and landing in the endless wilderness, he looked at the endless lake in front of him. Compared to a year ago, this place has changed too much. The so-called fog is completely gone. Fog Isle, just what are you hiding to attract the attention of all the forces on Earth? Luo Feng exclaimed, and then turned towards his dark blue autojet. Hong, Thunder God, and the others are all here. Even if there really is a treasure, it's not realistic for me to get it. I'll just watch from the side and learn the second stage of the soaring shuttle's first form. Luo Feng wasn't greedy. Knowing oneself is important. The 5 great countries, the big headquarter cities, the 2 dojo heads are all here. And the monster emperor is also here. What right does Luo Feng have to steal it? Update complete. On the first day of the new month, the fight for the monthly votes is already so intense. Even Tomato has fallen to the back. If he doesn't pull for the monthly votes, he has no other choice. Everyone should have a guaranteed monthly vote. Vote for Tomato. Chapter 208. The autojet floated high in the air. Luo Feng looked down from above. Small fighter jets were scattered around the lake in a 100 kilometers radius. They were either setting up laser cannons, or some special probing and monitoring devices. Large amounts of workers were under the protection of a group of fighters as they carried out their work. At the same time, within 10 li of the lake, not a single living monster could be seen. Other than these small fighter jets, there were 6 large disc-shaped passenger jets. How many people have the countries of the world sent? Luo Feng exclaimed. The power of a country was indeed different. With one command, all sorts of equipment, all sorts of elites were immediately sent over. Command Center, it's 03, it's 03, everything is normal, everything is normal. Command Center, it's 08, it's 08, the direction has been adjusted, the direction has been adjusted. Large amounts of news quickly spread to the command center. A giant aircraft that looked like it was dyed in blood was parked 1,500 meters away from the shore of the lake. This was the base where the Huaxia army was stationed during the battle for Misty Island Lake. Also the command center. Beside the majestic lake, there were a total of 6 huge disc-shaped passenger jets. They came from China, Russia, India, America, the European countries, and the HR Alliance. These large disc-shaped passenger jets were extremely expensive. Normal headquarter cities couldn't afford to build them, nor were they willing to build them. And this time, the 5 great countries and the HR Alliance each deployed a large disc-shaped passenger jet to stop beside the lake, as a base. With high defense and mobility, it was indeed the best base. I'd better focus on training the second level of the soaring shuttle. Luo Feng watched the situation below with interest, as he prepared to start training. Suddenly, the quantum computer on his arm vibrated. Hello. Luo Feng picked up the call. I'm Jia Yi. I wonder if I have the honor of inviting Representative Luo Feng for a meeting? A gentle voice sounded. Jia Yi? You're here? Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. Luo Feng, you're in mid-air. You should be able to see the 6 large disc-shaped passenger jets by the lake, right? The blood-red one is the base of our Huaxia country. I'm inside. I've already arranged for people to welcome you at the entrance. Jia Yi was very passionate. I'll be there immediately. Luo Feng immediately flew out of the autojet, heading towards the blood-red disc-shaped passenger jet. Testing battle strength, student level 9 and above will be displayed. Luo Feng pointed the quantum computer towards the flying saucer passenger plane below. Suddenly, a series of messages appeared on the screen of the arm guard. 4 counselors? 12 advanced level war gods? My Chinese side is quite strong. Luo Feng was a bit surprised. Luo Feng flew and landed at the entrance of the disc-shaped passenger plane. A beautiful lady slightly bowed. Representative Luo, please follow me. Following the receptionist into the corridor of the flying saucer passenger plane, the receptionist hastily said, "This corridor has been modified into a laser passageway. Anyone who trespasses will be shot to death immediately. Please wait a moment." Beep, beep, beep. The red warning light at the top of the corridor went off after 3 beep. "Commander, they're in the top deck." The receptionist pointed at the stairs. Luo Feng raised his head and saw that the metal door at the end of the stairs was closed. 2 war god level guards stood at the door. All the gatekeepers are war gods, Luo Feng thought to himself. "Greetings, Councilman Luo." The 2 of them bowed slightly. Hua. The metal door opened. Luo Feng walked straight in. The top deck's circular hall had been completely modified. There weren't any normal passenger plane seat. Instead, the world's most advanced equipment had been installed. Even some equipment excavated from the archaeological ruins had been installed. In the center of the circular hall, there was a slightly protruding circular platform. On the circular metal platform, there were 4 martial artists in combat uniforms. They didn't look young. One of them even had white hair. Luo Feng. Representative Luo. The 4 smiled passionately as they walked over. The skinniest middle-aged man laughed. "Luo Feng, you broke through?" "Oh, I just broke through a few days ago." Luo Feng nodded. Obviously, when he flew over, the four representatives knew that he had officially stepped into the representative level. Immediately, their attitudes were completely different. In the past, the representatives didn't really respect Luo Feng. However, the moment he broke through, before breaking through, he could already kill Li Yao. Once he broke through, how powerful would he be? He was definitely a powerful representative. How could they not be passionate? Mr. Jia Yi, ever since I found out about Representative Jia's achievements, I've always wanted to meet you. The last time I took over as investigator, I didn't get to meet you. This time, I've finally gotten my wish. Luo Feng smiled. This wasn't just flattery. Ever since his status rose, he could see many people's records. Especially after seeing Jia Yi's records, Luo Feng had always respected this person. Jia Yi was a legendary person. Jia Yi's father and grandfather were all soldiers. Even Jia Yi's grandfather had fought in the 8-Year War against the US and Korea. This was a military family. Jia Yi's body was weak and sickly from a young age. He didn't develop well and was skinny. However, during the Great Nirvana period, Jia Yi was Jia Yi. Time and time again, he performed miraculous acts of salvation. Back then, of the Chinese citizens who fled, over 10 million were saved by him. During the Great Nirvana period, the fighters' training wasn't systematic. However, just like that, Jia Yi became the military's first existence, surpassing the war god level. During the establishment of the headquarters, his contributions were even greater. He had always been the pride of the military. Especially after becoming an existence surpassing the war god level, Jia Yi remained loyal to the country without hesitation. Over the decades of contributions, the number of people he saved numbered over 10 million. Indirectly, even more. Such contributions, along with his strength, allowed Jia Yi to become the current leader of the military. In terms of power, he was definitely one of the top 3 in China. He could be considered as the true leader of the Chinese military. Star Traveler Level 2. If Jia Yi had lived in my era, with someone to guide him in his training, his achievements would have been even higher. Luo Feng really respected this person. He respected him for saving millions of people during the Great Nirvana period. Haha, I too want to meet the new generation of genius fighters of China. Jia Yi smiled. Come, these 3 beside me, you should know them right. Representative Zhu, Representative Tuoba, Representative Deng. Luo Feng smiled. The 3 representatives smiled and responded. Luo Feng looked towards the round-shaped hall. There were many instruments within, many of which he had never seen before. He couldn't help but exclaim, "Look at the craftsmanship, it's very unique, it doesn't look like something made on Earth." Some instruments were excavated from the ruins of the ancient civilization. Jia Yi pointed to one of the large screens, ordering, "Send the Misty Island Lakes scan over." "Yes, Commander." Immediately the screen lit up, showing the Misty Island Lake. Within the lake there were countless complex silhouettes. These silhouettes, are they all water beasts? Luo Feng looked curiously at the screen. Amazing, all the beasts in the lake have been detected. It's not hard, the 5 great countries can do it. Jia Yi walked in front of the screen, pointing, "Look, this Misty Island Lake's average depth is about 300 m, the deepest is close to 1000 m. However, that monster emperor isn't in the lake. Go down 500 m. Jia Yi ordered. The image on the screen changed, extending all the way to 500 m below the ground. This is... Luo Feng stared wide-eyed, extremely shocked. This is the monster emperor, we've named it the Tentacle Beast. Jia Yi pointed to a blurry silhouette on the screen. The silhouette's body was extremely huge. One must know that the screen's depth was 500 m, but the silhouette's width actually took up more than half of the screen. One could imagine its size. The monster Emperor Tentacle Beast has a total of 13 tentacles. Each tentacle's length is about 1500 m. Jia Yi pointed at the silhouette. Look, it even has something like a turtle shell on its head. It can instantly retract all 13 tentacles into the shell. Not just that. It has a similar characteristic of the tentacle-type monsters. Cutting off one of its tentacles, it can quickly regrow it. Jia Yi shook his head. We've been monitoring this misty island for a few days, but we haven't found any treasures or secrets. The main thing is that the monster emperor is underground. We don't dare to go down. Luo Feng nodded. Go underground to kill the monster emperor? Dream on. A few days ago, Hong went down once, cutting off 2 tentacles, but the monster escaped. Jia Yi looked at Luo Feng, revealing a smile. The treasures that appear are usually very special, obtaining them depends on luck. In terms of power, Hong alone surpasses all the representatives combined. However, luck. Luo Feng, are you willing to join us, help China? Jia Yi looked at Luo Feng. The other 3 representatives looked at Luo Feng too. Luo Feng was stunned. This Jia Yi was too good at bluffing, coming to the Misty Island Lake to snatch the treasure. He actually used his country's name to rope Luo Feng in. If his country was really in trouble, Luo Feng would definitely help, but this matter, Mr. Jia Yi, I'm very sorry. The head is here, I can't go against him. Luo Feng laughed awkwardly. I still have things to do, I'll take my leave first. Since he rejected the others, Luo Feng couldn't stay for too long. Seeing this, Jia Yi smiled and said, No problem. These days we're all here. Sometimes we'll come and chat. Alright. Luo Feng smiled, including Jia Yi. The 4 representatives personally sent him off, when they saw Luo Feng flying. Luo Feng's position in their hearts rose by a huge amount. Walking out of the base's cabin door, the wind howled outside, the wild grass was low. Attention all personnel. Our dojo of Limits head Hong is about to enter the Misty Island Lake, with the intention of killing the monster emperor in one move. To prevent himself from dying, all non-representative warriors, immediately enter your respective bases. Representative-level warriors must not be in the air above the lake. Be careful not to get caught up in the battle. The voice was like rolling thunder, traveling hundreds of li. Luo Feng looked up. The black-clothed person in the air shouting was his royal guard Ice Mountain. The head is going to kill the monster emperor? Luo Feng couldn't help but be shocked. What? Hong is going to kill the monster emperor? Jia Yi and the other representatives behind Luo Feng were shocked. So. On the shore of the lake, a counselor-level expert flew into the air. P.S. Chapter 1 here. Chapter 209. In the dusky sky, 30 silhouettes hovered, all of them were Earth's strongest warriors, existences surpassing the war god level. Luo Feng, Jia Yi and the other 3 stood together, hovering a few hundred meters in the air. The last time Hong tried to kill the Grand Emperor, it ended in failure. Even though he managed to injure the Grand Emperor, Hong was injured too. Jia Yi looked at the distant prehistoric level autojet. It's only been a few days, Luo Feng, your inauguration ceremony just ended, and now Hong wants to fight the Grand Emperor again? That's weird. The other 3 representatives were suspicious too. Everyone cared a lot about their reputation. When Hong fought the Grand Emperor, he failed the first time, everyone could understand. But if he didn't have any confidence and tried again, people would talk behind his back. I think the head has confidence. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. Confidence in killing the Grand Emperor? Jia Yi and the other representatives shook their heads. If he had confidence, the 2 Grand Emperors in the ocean would have been dealt with long ago. While the representatives were watching from high up in the air, large amounts of small fighter jets flew back to their respective bases. Everyone below representative level had returned to their bases. They had all seen the previous battle between Hong and the Grand Emperor. They knew how huge the commotion was. The moment they were caught in it, even the representatives could lose their lives if they weren't careful. Look, Hong and Thunder God. This time Hong and Thunder God are teaming up? In the air, the representatives all had excellent vision. Retreat, retreat, don't stay above the lake, stay further away, Luo Feng. It's easy to get caught in the air above the lake. Whether it's your head or the Grand Emperor, a casual attack isn't something we can handle, don't be careless. Jia Yi and the others said. Luo Feng followed and flew away. Misty Island's lake was quiet. The various bases were monitoring the movements of the lake. More than 30 councilmen dressed in black hovered in the air. Their attention was focused on Hong and Thunder God. The black-clothed Hong and the white-robed bald monk Thunder God flew side by side towards the center of the lake. Thunder God looked at Hong, saying softly, "Brother Hong, once that tentacle beast enters the lake, it's like a fish in water. But us human martial artists are also greatly weakened in the lake. You didn't succeed last time, but now that you've brought the cloud contact vine, you're confident?" When humans were underwater, every movement they made would be obstructed by the currents. The faster the speed, the greater the resistance. Hong and Thunder God were indeed greatly restricted at the bottom of the lake. Beast Emperor, on the other hand, was very comfortable at the bottom of the lake. With the cloud contact vine, I have a 30% chance of killing the tentacle beast. Even if I can't, I'll be able to return safely. Unless it's hiding its strength, I won't be injured again. Hong calmly looked down at the lake. What's more, the strongest thing under the lake is this Beast Emperor. It's the biggest obstacle to us getting the treasure. If we don't kill it, how can we get the treasure? Thunder God was taken aback. Indeed, if he didn't kill the Beast Emperor, he wouldn't be able to safely explore the underground. You're also helping the 5 countries and the HR Alliance. Thunder God laughed, and also helping me. I've said it before, treasures depend on fate. Just like the soaring shuttle, it was clearly in my hands, but I just couldn't use it. In Luo Feng's hands, it was only that powerful. The soaring shuttle is fated with him. Hong revealed a smile. This cloud contact vine isn't originally from Earth. I haven't left Earth, yet this cloud contact vine has fallen into my hands. It's also fated with me. Thunder God laughed. This bald head of mine looks like a monk. You're not bald, but you speak like a monk. You bald head, stay here and watch how I deal with that tentacle beast. The black-clothed Hong finished speaking. His entire body immediately became a black light, fiercely piercing into the lake. The surface of the lake only shook a little. The black-clothed Hong had already penetrated over 300 m deep into the mud and rock layer below. He quickly dived down. The sky gradually darkened, the 6 bases all lit up with lights. 30 silhouettes, like gods, floated in mid-air. Look, it's moving. Jia Yi stared at the screen of his tactical communications watch. The other 3 representatives and Luo Feng all stared at the screen. On the screen was the huge silhouette of the Beast Emperor, and at this time, the silhouette that had been sitting there motionlessly suddenly moved. As though it had gone mad, 3 of its tentacles were madly moving. At the same time, its entire body swiftly charged upwards. This is a red dot. It represents Hong. Jia Yi pointed at one of the red dots on one of the tentacles. A human's height wasn't even 2 m, and one tentacle was already 1500 m long. The difference between the two was shocking. Hong is swiftly moving. The Beast Emperor is also using its tentacles to retaliate. Look, the entire wilderness is shaking. Luo Feng and the others were shocked as they looked at the wilderness that was a few hundred li below. Because of the Beast Emperor's crazy retaliation, the violent tremors were transmitted to the ground, causing the entire wilderness to shake. One of the tentacles has broken. Luo Feng and the others stared at the screen. One of the tentacles had about a third of its length broken. Hong and the Beast Emperor are really fast. The Beast Emperor has already escaped into the lake. Oh, from the underground rock layer to the lake, its speed is indeed many times faster. Hong has also entered the lake, from the rock layer to the lake. Even though his speed has increased quite a bit, it's obviously not as fast as the Beast Emperor. But it's clearly not as strong as Beast Emperors. A few of the councilmen watched nervously as they discussed the battle. Not good, retreat! Jiayi roared. On the screen, a tentacle fiercely pierced through the surface of the lake. Indeed, while Luo Feng and the others were retreating, in the distant lake, a tentacle with a diameter of close to 20 m, its surface was completely covered in a rock-like wrinkled tentacle fiercely shot up into the sky. The length of the tentacle that came out of the lake was close to 1,000 m long, almost like a train connecting together. A 1,000 m long, 20 m thick tentacle covered in wrinkled rocks, almost like the legendary golden cudgel of Sun Wukong. In an instant it waved about, engulfing everything within a few thousand meters. Rumble, the air exploded, huge waves formed on the surface of the lake, large amounts of water monsters were thrown into the air, some were smashed into meat paste, some died horribly, some were crippled. A beast emperor, with just a wave of its tentacle, it was as though the heavens and earth were collapsing. Compared to the long vine life form from back then, it seems even more exaggerated. Luo Feng could smell the waving of the tentacle that seemed like it could pierce through the sky, emitting an extremely disgusting stench. It was similar to the stench of seafood, and also the smell of earthworms. It was extremely pungent, making one want to vomit. Even though it was disgusting, the power of the tentacle was shocking. Even with our black god sets, if we were to be touched by this tentacle, there's an 80 to 90% chance that we'll lose our lives. Jia Yi looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, I advise you to put on an SS-grade battle uniform on top of your black god set. No wonder you're all wearing battle uniforms. Luo Feng nodded. Jia Yi and the other 3 representatives were all wearing SS-grade battle uniforms on the outside, and black god sets on the inside. With 2 layers of protection, it wasn't just Jia Yi and the other 3 representatives, the Star Traveler warriors floating in the air in the distance, almost all of them had the same protection. Against this beast emperor, wearing the SS-grade battle uniform definitely increases my chances of survival. Luo Feng nodded. The SS-grade battle uniform, even though it couldn't completely disperse the force of impact to the entire body, with the uniform, it could still reduce quite a bit of the impact. Luo Feng and the other 4 stared at the screen of their tactical communications watches. The Beast Emperor was huge, naturally they could see it clearly. As for Hong, he was just a red dot of light. Hong has rushed to the Beast Emperor's turtle shell. What an intense fight. Rumble! A human silhouette rushed out from the lake. It was the black-clothed man Hong. At this time, Hong was wielding a silver long spear, his eyes like lightning. The surrounding 100 m area was completely covered in black, almost like a god within this domain. Hong wielded the long spear, once again piercing through the surface of the water and diving into the depths. The second tentacle has broken. Yu Shi beside couldn't help but exclaim. Hong has attached himself to the Beast Emperor's turtle shell. What's going on? What's going on? Luo Feng and the other 4 were shocked, because the red dot representing Hong on the display screen had disappeared. Luo Feng and the others looked at Jia Yi. Jia Yi shook his head, confused. I'm not sure, this device has never been used before. Usually, as long as there's life, it'll be detected. There's life? We can't detect Hong, could it be that he's dead? Representative Tuaba beside exclaimed softly. Look at the lake. Luo Feng shouted. Immediately, the few of them turned to look at the distant lake, only to see the already rumbling lake suddenly explode. Tentacles that seemed like they were about to pierce through the skies, a total of 7 or 8 tentacles broke through the surface of the water, crazily waving and rolling, without any pattern. It was purely a crazy dance. Large amounts of water monsters were affected, their blood dyeing the lake red. Nah! An ear-piercing and sorrowful sound resounded from the ground, causing the ground to tremble. So ear-piercing. The 30 Star Traveler warriors floating in mid-air couldn't help but cover their ears, their faces filled with pain. The tentacles that were originally filled with endless power began to slow down, after which they fell powerlessly into the lake. Even 2 tentacles landed in the wilderness beside. Those heavy tentacles smashed into the ground, forming 2 deep trenches, quickly filling up the lake. It's dead. The Beast Emperor Tentacle Beast is dead. Look, on the screen, the Beast Emperor's silhouette is getting dimmer and dimmer. Its life force is rapidly decreasing, so fast, so fast. It's gone. Under the watchful eyes of Luo Feng and the others, the huge silhouette of the Beast Emperor actually disappeared. A red light was extremely glaring. That was Hong. The lake's surface is rippling again. The 30 or so star travelers who were floating in the air all looked at the vast lake in unison. They saw the surface of the lake shake, and then a tentacle full of wrinkled rocks popped out of the water, followed by the black-clothed man, Hong. Hong's right hand actually had a tens of meters long vine wrapped around the tentacle. Drag. The black-clothed man, Hong, flew into the sky. Including the tentacle, a body length of over 3,000 m was completely dragged out of the water, almost like a black floating island, appearing in the air above the lake. The 30 Star Traveler warriors, Earth's 5 great countries, the HR Alliance, the various headquarter cities' commanders, soldiers and workers were all stunned as they watched this scene. At the same time, this scene was transmitted to the entire Earth's various countries and organizations. Everyone was silent. P.S. 2 chapters completed. Today's first chapter was even later, tomorrow's third. At the same time, Tomato also pulled his monthly votes and recommendation vote. Chapter 210. The moment they saw the over 3,000 m long body of the Grand Emperor, almost everyone from the countries gathered around the lake, including the incomparably strong Star Traveler warriors, all felt their hearts stop beating and their blood stop flowing. It was unbelievable, it was too exaggerated. In the air above the lake, Hong dragged the Grand Emperor's body towards the wilderness and began to descend, letting the Grand Emperor's body land on the ground. Plop! The thick, 1,500-meter-long tentacles fell heavily on the wilderness, causing the entire wilderness to shake as if there was an earthquake. So strong. Luo Feng looked at the black-clothed Hong in mid-air. Even though Hong's face was pale, he didn't seem to be afraid. However, his eyes were bright with a sense of joy. Hong floated in mid-air and surveyed his surroundings, almost like an emperor surveying his territory. No one dared to meet Hong's gaze. Invincible in the Star Traveler level? I didn't expect him to be able to kill a sea-level Grand Emperor in the water. Luo Feng was shocked. Invincible in the Star Traveler level only meant he wouldn't be defeated by other Star Traveler level opponents. However, it didn't mean he could kill all Star Traveler level opponents. Just like how the high-level Horde leader's strength and speed were superior to the advanced level War God level humans, the monsters, due to the difference in race, naturally had the advantage in strength and other aspects. The Grand Emperor, in terms of body strength, it far exceeded Hong. And fighting in its best environment, the water, if Hong didn't have his own domain, any other Star Traveler level 6 fighter would probably be killed immediately. Hong had his own domain. He was known to be invincible in the Star Traveler level. If it was on land or in the air, he could kill his opponent. However, the moment he entered the water, his strength would decrease, while the monsters were much stronger than on land. One weakened, the other strengthened. Hence, in the water, Hong couldn't do anything to the Grand Emperor. And this time, with the Cloud Contact Vine, along with his grasp of the timing during the battle. Success. Grand Emperor, one day I'll be able to personally kill a Grand Emperor. Luo Feng looked at the distant godlike Hong, his heart filled with endless desire. While Luo Feng and the other warriors were shocked by Hong's accomplishments, the governments of the various countries on Earth were itching. The Grand Emperor's corpse, this is Earth's first Grand Emperor corpse, a priceless treasure. Mr. President, our research team has never obtained a part of the Beast Emperor's body. I request Mr. President to negotiate with the Dojo of Limits to obtain a part of the Beast Emperor's body. I suggest that we immediately buy a portion of the Emperor corpses. we must first research the bone structure, skin structure, etc. of the Emperor corpses. Our HR Alliance is the world's largest weapons supplier. This time, we must research even more powerful weapons and battle uniforms to continue occupying the high-end market. The 5 countries, the HR Alliance, and many others were all eyeing the corp. One had to know that back in the day, the first King-class monster corps had allowed humans to invent SS-class combat suits and weapons, and even more advanced SSS-class combat suits and weapons. However, in terms of cost-performance ratio, SSS-class combat suits and weapons were too expensive. It was purely due to the accumulation of expensive materials, so almost no one bought SSS-class combat suit. If he had that kind of money, he might as well buy a Black God set. As for the first Beast King corpse, if he studied it carefully, he might be able to obtain great results. It was already dark. In the center of the Australian continent, in the vast wilderness, a corpse the size of a small mountain laid there. A black-clothed Hong stood beside it. Compared to the Emperor's corpse, he was as small as an ant. Luha. Hong turned on his communicator. Head. Investigator Luha, who was far away in Hong Ning headquarters city, replied. Dispatch the A1 research team and 2 special war god teams immediately. Hurry to Misty Island as fast as possible and meet me. Hong ordered. Yes, Head. Luha replied. Not only that, Hong immediately ordered his 3 royal guards, beasts, to rush over. This way, his 3 royal guards would all be gathered here. At crucial times, Hong trusted these 3 royal guards the most. Yes, Master. A low and thick voice resounded from the tactical communications watch. Brother Hong. A voice filled with ridicule rang out. Hong, whose face was pale and without a trace of blood, turned his head to look coldly. The person who came was the white-robed bald Thunder God. Thunder God smiled and raised his head to look at the huge corpse beside him. Brother Hong, I really admire you. You actually killed the Beast King. Hong only nodded. Damn, not humble at all. Thunder God couldn't help but blink helplessly. Hong looked at Thunder God, a bit helpless. The 2 of them were born before the Grand Nirvana period. Thunder God was mixed blood, with Chinese and Indian blood. Thunder God's father was a yogi who once went to India to learn yoga. In India, he met Thunder God's mother. Then Thunder God's father returned to China. Thunder God had a mischievous personality since he was young, but under the influence of movies, he really liked Chinese kung fu. Under his father's tutelage, he had some achievements in yoga. Adding on the fact that he worked hard to learn Chinese kung fu, the name Mad Thunder was very famous in the martial arts circle. Many people in the Chinese martial arts circle knew of this mixed-blood youth who really liked to challenge. When the Grand Nirvana period came, Thunder God combined Chinese martial arts and yoga to create the 9-stage Thunder Blade. Different from Thunder God, Hong was an assassin before the Grand Nirvana period. An assassin and a clown, a strange combination. Even though their personalities were different, they had one thing in common: they were both very strict with themselves. Being taught yoga by his father from a young age, Thunder God of course could endure hardship. Needless to say, Hong's experience as an assassin made his personality colder. During the Grand Nirvana period, the 2's strength increased by leaps and bounds. Adding on a few fortuitous encounters and their own talents, their strength increased even faster. In terms of body foundation, Thunder God, who had received excellent training since he was young, was clearly stronger than Hong. And Thunder God, who had systematic training, his speed of improvement had always been shocking. Body strength, speed, strength, and the efficiency with which he used his body, Thunder God surpassed Hong in all of them. Hong only had one thing: his comprehension was ridiculously strong. He had his own domain at the Star Traveler level. Naturally, he became number 1 in the world. 2 people, one created the Dojo of Limits, the other created the Thunder Dojo. Even though the people under them were always competing, Hong and Thunder God didn't stop them. The two of them had gone through life and death situations together, of course they had a good relationship. The fighters under them competing with each other was beneficial to both sides. Brother Hong, you've already killed this emperor beast. There are still 2 more in the ocean, can you kill them? Thunder God asked. If we can kill them, it'll be much easier for us in the future. It's not the same. Hong shook his head. This lake is only 300 meters deep. Even though it's large, to that emperor beast, one tentacle is 1,500 meters. In other words, in this lake, it's very hard for it to even flip its body. The depth of the lake limits its abilities. Plus it just became an emperor beast not long ago, so its efficiency with which it uses its body is rather low. That's why I was able to kill it in one move. And the 2 old fellows in the ocean, they both became emperor level during the Grand Nirvana period, and then slowly grew to emperor level. Those 2 emperor beasts experienced many battles in the ocean before they became emperors. I don't know where this tentacle beast came from, it suddenly appeared. It has little experience, and its control over its strength is far from those 2 old fellows. Hong shook his head. Thunder God nodded. No rush, our strength is much stronger than those 2, they definitely won't dare come ashore. Hong said, wait until the day we step into the star level, or if my cloud contact vine grows even stronger, then we'll have a chance. The cloud contact vine is still very weak right now. Don't mention the cloud contact vine to me, just mentioning it makes me jealous. Thunder God couldn't help but mutter, damn, to be able to find a cloud contact vine on our Earth, your luck is really heaven-defying. Cloud contact vine, it was indeed a priceless treasure in the vast universe. The price of a cloud contact vine was unbelievable. It was because of the universe knowledge that he knew the value of the cloud contact vine. Back then Hong was so excited, even willing to give his spirit weapon to Luo Feng. Because from Hong's point of view, the spirit weapon was far from the cloud contact vine. Luo Feng, gather at my place. Luo Feng received Hong's call. Yes, head. Luo Feng flew towards Hong's location, looking down at the huge emperor beast's corpse. Luo Feng couldn't help but feel suspicious. In terms of strength, the head alone could kill the emperor beast. Why was he gathering him now? To Hong, having a few more representatives to help shouldn't make much of a difference. So, Luo Feng landed. Hong was standing beside the emperor beast's corpse. Beside him were his personal guards Allure and Ice Mountain. Head. Luo Feng landed. Luo Feng. Hong turned to look at Luo Feng, slightly nodding. I've already killed the emperor beast. The biggest problem in exploring the lake has been solved. The various countries' governments, the HR Alliance etc., and representatives, some have already begun exploring the lake. There are many more people who are doing preparatory work. I've already arranged for many people to come. Right now, the 3 of you immediately begin diving into the lake, search for the treasures within. Hong emphasized, the moment you discover a treasure, take it if you can. If you can't, immediately inform me. Yes, head. The golden masked Allure and Ice Mountain guards, along with Luo Feng, immediately complied. Of course, the moment you discover a treasure, the moment you successfully acquire it, the person who discovers the treasure will receive 30% of the reward. The person who obtains the treasure will also receive 30% of the reward. The last 40% will belong to the dojo. Hong emphasized, which means whoever discovers and obtains the treasure will receive 60% of the reward. Allure, the guards and Luo Feng all nodded. Being able to get 60% was already not bad. After all, once they obtained the treasure, they wouldn't have to be afraid of others stealing it, because they had Hong as their backer. Good, the 3 of you can leave now. Hong ordered. Yes. Luo Feng, Allure and Ice Mountain complied. They immediately became 3 beams of light and rushed towards the distant lake. In other directions, there were quite a few representatives. Occasionally 1 or 2 would appear and fly towards the lake. A huge excavation that attracted the attention of the entire world had officially begun. P.S. Chapter 1 has ended. Chapter 2:11. Today is the second chapter. Luo Feng, Allure, and Ice Mountain's outfits were quite similar. They all wore battle uniforms on the outside and black god sets on the inside. However, Allure and Ice Mountain had an extra golden mask. Luo Feng put on the battle uniforms and boots after he returned to the autojet after watching the battle between Hong and the Monster Emperor. The three of them flew side by side above the lake. "Let's split up and search," said Royal Guard Allure. "All right," Ice Mountain's voice was as cold as ever. "All right," Luo Feng nodded. "This misty lake has a circumference of at least 100 miles, such a large area, and the Monster Emperor was 3,500 meters underground, so the average depth of the lake is only 300 meters. Maybe the treasure is still at the bottom of the lake, in the mud, soil, or rock layers. Searching for it is extremely difficult." Luo Feng agreed with splitting up. "Compared to the larger underground rock layer, I'll check this lake first." Luo Feng couldn't help but to glance into the distance. He saw a silhouette charging into the lake from a few thousand meters away. It was clearly another representative fighter. The true treasure of the Misty Lake is indeed alluring. Putong. Water splashed up as Luo Feng directly charged into the lake. He wore his battle uniform on the outside and his black god set on the inside. He stood on the soaring shuttle and had 18 blades protecting his body, ready to attack at any moment. Luo Feng was armed to the teeth. "Treasure? I don't even know what treasure it is, so how do I find it?" Luo Feng's head hurt. As of now, none of the forces know what treasure it is or how many there are, so they can only search blindly. Thankfully, I'm a spirit reader. My spiritual force can spread out 200 meters around me and search. Spiritual force scanning is much more effective than radar scanning. And just like that, Luo Feng began his bloody treasure search. Last time he came to this misty lake, Luo Feng almost lost his life. And this time, Luo Feng can easily kill the so-called high-level horde leader monster with just a thought. Extremely easy. 32 minutes. With an astonishing speed, Luo Feng scanned over 80% of the lake. On the way, he killed over 1,000 monsters and 13 horde leader monsters. Among them, there were 2 high-level horde leader monster materials. Luo Feng used his spiritual force to put them into the bag formed by the black god set on his back. It sure is easy for a Star Traveler level spirit reader to earn money on Earth. Luo Feng, who gave up on the other horde leader monster materials, sighed to himself. "Luo Feng, have you discovered anything in the lake?" A voice came through the tactical communications watt. It was Enchanting's voice. "I've already explored more than 36% of the lake. Nothing. I haven't discovered anything." Luo Feng said softly, "I've scanned 80% of the area." In terms of probing ability, Star Traveler level warriors were definitely stronger than war gods because even Star Traveler level warriors could release their genetic energy. For example, Senator Far's body was surrounded by flames. For example, when Lan Ran in Jiangnan headquarters city tried to stop Luo Feng from killing Li Yao, the temperature of the surrounding air plummeted, and the fountain froze in an instant. Planetary state martial artists could control the energy within a certain range to search for treasures. Of course, Star Traveler level spirit readers have the strongest probing ability. Next are Star Traveler level fighters, then War God level spirit readers, and finally War God level fighters. War God level fighters can only pitifully look around with their eyes. Their efficiency is the lowest. You've scanned 80%, I've scanned 36%, and Ice Mountain has scanned 41%. None of us found anything. With the 3 of us combined, I estimate that more than 95% of the area has been explored. I think we should go underground and explore, communicated Enchanting. "I agree," replied Luo Feng. Whoosh. At the same time, Enchanting, Ice Mountain, and Luo Feng, the 3-star traveler level fighters, swiftly rushed into the sky. They broke through the surface of the water and flew into the sky. After that, they flew towards the misty island ruins in the center of the lake. Putong! Putong! Luo Feng watched with his own eyes as war god level fighters jumped into the lake from their fighter jet. Even war gods are here to search for treasures, seriously. Luo Feng shook his head. Good thing they aren't stupid and entered the soil of the island to search. For war gods to encounter horde leader monsters in the middle of the lake is basically a joke. And the area that those war gods jumped into was an island in the middle of the lake not long ago. However, after a huge battle, quite a bit of the surface of the island was shaved off, and the rest of the island is under the water. You can't see it with your naked eye. Those war gods can quickly drill into the soil after jumping down. They can drill into the soil and rocks to search for treasures. It's rare to meet monsters in the rock layer, and even if they do, they're usually very weak. The soil and rock layer underground cover an even wider area, and the difficulty of exploring them is much harder than in the water, said Enchanting coldly. Same old method, we'll split up, I'll go first. Luo Feng decisively dove into the surface of the lake. Luo Feng was decisive and directly dove into the surface of the lake. After a mere 8 to 9 meters deep, Luo Feng plunged into the soil and rock. His head was up and his feet were down. His feet automatically extended into sharp points and easily pierced through the soil and rocks below as he fell. Underground. It was completely dark. Searching for treasures underground might be difficult for others. Luo Feng's spiritual force spread out. Since he doesn't know what the treasures are, plants, minerals, life, or archaeological ruins. Since he doesn't know and doesn't have a target, his search is a bit slow. 3 hours later, at a depth of 2,000 to 3,000 meters underground, there was an underground river. The water was extremely turbulent, and with a ping, Luo Feng crashed through the rocks and fell into the river. This is the place. Last time I ate the 1,000-year willowheart, it was right next to this river. How nostalgic. Right now, I'll dig a hole and rest a bit. Luo Feng easily dug out a cave at a high point beside the underground river, immediately closing his eyes and sitting cross-legged. 3 hours of continuous exploration, with himself as the center, all around him in a 200 m radius, even with enough spirit reading. His spirit was still very tired. What's that smell? Luo Feng, who was resting cross-legged, suddenly sniffed. A faint smell of rice entered his nose. The smell of rice? Luo Feng fiercely opened his eyes. Treasure! It might very well be a treasure. Having the smell of rice 2,000 to 3,000 meters underground is a very strange thing, and this strange thing might even be related to the treasure of the Misty Island. Luo Feng sniffed with his nose and dove into the underground river like a fish. Occasionally, he would pop out of the river and sniff carefully. It's this direction. The smell is coming from this direction. Once he confirmed the direction, Luo Feng immediately followed the direction of the underground river and swiftly approached. As he got closer, the smell of rice became easier to smell. Rumble. Luo Feng followed this underground river and actually arrived at an even wider underground river. It seemed like the underground river just now was just a branch of this wider underground river. There are water monsters, Luo Feng scanned with his spiritual force and found. There aren't many of them, but most of them are quite strong. Luo Feng wasn't surprised at all. Back when he was in the Chinese base, Luo Feng saw the map on the screen. The average depth of the lake was 300 meters, and the deepest part was almost 1,000 meters. However, this was just the main data on the map. In reality, there are all sorts of tunnels between the lake and the underground. For example, if a monster the size of a monster emperor charged from 3,500 meters underground to the lake, sometimes it would go to the lake and sometimes it would go underground. Because when the monster emperor moves like this, it will also create a tunnel that leads deep underground. On the screen, there were quite a few water monsters in the tunnel-shaped area. So Luo Feng wasn't surprised at all. The smell is coming from that side. Luo Feng swiftly flew up. Whoosh! Around 3 meters above the wide underground river, Luo Feng teleported to around 50 meters away. He stood on the surface of the lake and looked ahead. Above the dark underground lake, a translucent white crystal floated in midair. Because of this, the originally dark underground area had a weak light. This translucent white crystal was also emitting waves of rice fragrance, which made people want to drool. However, a large amount of water monsters in the underground lake stared at this white crystal. One of them even instantly jumped up and swallowed it. Luo Feng just saw the white crystal and then saw it get swallowed by a water monster. It happened in the blink of an eye. Something's wrong. Luo Feng didn't have time to worry about it as he looked at the scene in front of him with confusion. Why didn't the other water monsters jump up to fight for it? Quite a few of them are horde leader-level monsters, so their intelligence isn't lower than humans. They aren't stupid, so there must be a reason. Shishi. In the river, the body of the shell-type water monster that jumped up and swallowed the white crystal started emitting a white light. Its entire body seemed to be expanding as it howled in pain. With a purring sound, the shell-type monster exploded. Its broken body and blood flew everywhere. An extremely alluring white crystal was still swaying as it floated above the surface of the lake. A group of water monsters surrounded the white crystal. All of them were extremely greedy, but none of them dared to swallow it. Luo Feng took in a deep breath as he saw this. That white crystal looked extremely mysterious, and its smell naturally made people drool. Who would have thought that it would be such a poison that you'll die after eating it? There's actually so many broken bodies in this lake. Luo Feng scanned with his spiritual force. Looks like quite a few monsters died from eating it at this time. It's a treasure, Misty Island treasure, an English exclamation rang. 2 silhouettes came explosively from different directions. It's mine. Luo Feng's eyes flashed. With a thought, his spiritual force formed a formless hand and grabbed towards it. Luo Feng didn't dare to use his real hand to grab this strange thing. Purring! A huge white hand that was as big as a basin appeared out of nowhere and grabbed towards the crystal. It clashed with Luo Feng's spiritual force and both of them directly collapsed. Luo Feng, this belongs to me. Mo Henderson. Hurry and move away, an awkward Chinese roared. Third Chairman, Ice Emperor Mo Henderson? Luo Feng's mind flashed through this person's information. Ice Emperor Mo Henderson, one of the 2 third-stage Star Traveler fighters on Earth. He was born in America and is currently the strongest fighter in the American government. Because his control over ice and snow has reached perfection, people call him the Ice Emperor. He's a super powerful fighter second only to Hong and Thunder God. This belongs to the dojo of Limit. You dare to steal it? Are you looking to die? Luo Feng roared. The soaring shuttle immediately floated in front of him, ready to unleash his ultimate move at any time. P.S. That's the 2nd chapter, continue writing the 3rd chapter. At the same time, he pulled his monthly votes and recommendation vote. Chapter 212. In the underground river, 3 Star Traveler warriors stood in mid-air. Luo Feng, who are you talking to? A thick voice resounded. A man with a body built like a lion, almost like an emperor high above, looked coldly at Luo Feng. Mo Henderson, I discovered this thing first, please move aside. Luo Feng's expression was equally cold, not retreating a single step. Very good. Ice Emperor's face revealed a smile of anger. It's been a very long time since someone has dared to speak to me like that. A 20-year-old brat like you dares to be so presumptuous in front of me. Today, I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of your head. Saying that, his gaze turned to another person not too far away. That representative looked at Mo Henderson, then at Luo Feng, squeezing out a smile. You too, peace is the most important. I won't be participating in this treasure. So, he retreated as fast as lightning. I'll let you make the first move, finish the battle within 3 seconds, that old punk will definitely inform the others outside. Finish it quickly, the Frost Emperor M.O. Henderson said indifferently. Arrogant indeed, 3 seconds? Even 30 seconds isn't enough. Luo Feng extended his hand and pointed at M.O. Henderson. I hope you don't lose even one move. Humph. M.O. Henderson snorted coldly within. He was the third chairman. Did he rely on other people's compliments to get there? Even the Star Traveler Level 2 Spirit Reader Eastbourne lost to him. Why would he be afraid of a Spirit Reader that had just stepped into the Star Traveler level? He was the #1 person in America. He wasn't someone to be messed with. Mountain drill. Luo Feng's gaze was cold. The soaring shuttle immediately split into 365 blades, reassembling in an instant. It became a conical shape, the surface of which was a spiral-shaped weapon. The soaring shuttle's first form, mountain drill. The speed at which it split and reassembled was so fast that even a star traveler couldn't see it clearly. This was one of the basics of soaring. 12 golden threads immediately wrapped around the tip of the mountain drill. Activate. Ong! An ear-piercing sonic boom rang out, and space itself seemed to be disturbed. A beam of golden light instantly pierced through the 50-meter distance between the two, bringing with it a violent whirlwind. The Frost Emperor's expression changed drastically, and he punched out with his right fist as fast as lightning. The specially made glove on his fist had a ferocious sword spike. But the mountain drilling all was too fast. Frost Emperor M.O. Henderson's fist barely brushed past the mountain drill. The mountain drill changed its trajectory slightly and pierced the Frost Emperor's abdomen. Ong! The mountain drill was still madly drilling. The piercing power of the mountain drilling all was enough to pierce through the Frost Emperor's SS-grade battlesuit and tear it apart. Then, it landed on the Ice Mountain Emperor's Black God set. The powerful penetrative power was reduced by 90%, and the remaining 90% was spread all over the Ice Mountain Emperor's body. Humph! The Ice Emperor snorted. His body involuntarily retreated 7 to 8 meters, his face slightly pale. What a strong body! Luo Feng was shocked. However, everything was still within his expectations. If the Star Traveler Level 3 didn't have the Black God set, he would probably be killed by him. But with the Black God set, it would be very hard to kill. Very good. You injured me. Frost Emperor M.O. Henderson's gaze was cold. Now you're too slow, you can't hit me. Luo Feng grinned at M.O. Henderson. Become a target. Luo Feng shouted coldly. Immediately, the mountain drilling all in front of Luo Feng became a beam of golden light. Ong! An ear-piercing sound resounded once again, creating a tornado-like energy wave. M.O. Henderson didn't arrogantly stand there and take it head-on anymore. He swiftly retreated and waved both his fists. A low clashing sound. The tip of the mountain drilling all actually clashed with one of M.O. Henderson's fists. M.O. Henderson's face went pale again, his body retreating a few meters. The mountain drilling all's speed, looks like even a Star Traveler Level 3 can barely block it. Luo Feng's mind swiftly went through many thoughts. Luckily, the mountain drilling all's powerful penetrative power doesn't rely on speed, but on the peculiar tearing penetrative power created by the golden thread. Ong! The mountain drilling all, 20 meters to the left of M.O. Henderson, once again resounded with a heart-palpitating sound. Shio! The golden light clashed towards M.O. Henderson. Chi! The third clash. M.O. Henderson couldn't help but retreat. Blood leaked from the corner of his mouth. How can this Luo Feng's attack power be so strong? Even Eastbourne isn't much different from him. What's different from Eastbourne is that his weapon's speed is too fast. It's much faster than Eastbourne's control of his weapons. Ong! 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 The mountain drilling all attacked M.O. Henderson again and again. Due to the mountain drilling all's terrifying force and shocking speed, M.O. Henderson couldn't completely dodge it. This resulted in him being forced back a few meters every time he was hit. In that short period of time, the mountain drilling all would attack again. It forced M.O. Henderson to have no way of finding the time. Indeed, as Luo Feng had said, M.O. Henderson had become a target. What do I do? What do I do? M.O. Henderson swiftly thought. As the world's third strongest, he hadn't faced such a predicament in a long time. This Luo Feng punk's attack power was comparable to Eastbourne's. Even through the Black God set, it was enough to injure him lightly. And the attack speed was much faster than Eastbourne's control of his weapons. He could barely block it with his hands, but his body couldn't move at all. If he couldn't dodge, he would be hit. After being hit, his body couldn't help but be forced back. And in that short period of time, the mountain drilling all's new attack came. If this continued, the attacks would be endless. Are you going to move or not? Luo Feng shouted loudly. Ong! A sound that M.O. Henderson hated so much resounded. I'll risk it. M.O. Henderson was hit 12 times in a short 10 seconds. Finally, he clenched his teeth and chose the stupidest yet most effective method. Ong! The 13th mountain drilling all became a golden light and once again attacked the pitiful target, Ice Emperor M.O. Henderson. And this time, M.O. Henderson didn't use his fists to block, but his palms. The two black palms on his left and right had long been waiting in front of him. When the golden light hit Chi-Chi, the black palms suddenly expanded. Pung! The moment the golden light hit the black palms, the black skin of the black palms immediately closed up. Like a black cover, it actually trapped the soaring shuttle within. Pooh! M.O. Henderson couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of fresh blood onto the river below. Relying on the extension ability of the Black God set, it was possible to trap the soaring shuttle within an instant of attack. However, the reason why M.O. Henderson didn't want to use this method was because, every time he was hit, his body couldn't help but be forced back. This was actually an instinctive way to reduce the impact and damage to his body. And when he was forced back, M.O. Henderson would also move his body to the side to avoid the soaring shuttle. And trapping the soaring shuttle meant taking the full brunt of the damage. Even though the impact only increased by 50%, once it reached a critical point, every bit of increase in impact would cause a lot more damage to the body. Just this one attack was comparable to the previous 10 attacks. Luo Feng, M.O. Henderson, who was trapped in the soaring shuttle, spat out blood. His eyes were about to spit fire and his mouth was full of fresh blood. He fiercely stepped on the mountain wall beside him. Rumble! With the explosive power of a Star Traveler Level 3 stage fighter's legs, M.O. Henderson's speed instantly rose to over 2,000 meters per second. Of course, he immediately let go of the soaring shuttle. If he didn't, the moment the soaring shuttle moved, he would be at a huge disadvantage. It's too fast. Luo Feng immediately rushed upwards. There were rocks above him. The rocks were as weak as tofu. Luo Feng directly rushed into the rock layer. Once a spirit reader is in the rock layer, in terms of agility and speed, a fighter can't compare at all. Luo Feng, come out if you have the ability. Ice Emperor M.O. Henderson was completely infuriated. He hasn't been at such a disadvantage in a long time. After being hit so many times, in the end, he had to endure the heavy injuries to gain the upper hand. If you have the ability, come in. Luo Feng's voice resounded. Whoosh! From a few hundred meters away, Luo Feng's body smashed through the rock wall. With a shocked expression, he looked at the white crystal floating above the river. At this time, it had already been swallowed by a water monster. When Luo Feng was escaping earlier, he noticed a water monster, Earth Dragon, swallowing the white crystal. However, Luo Feng didn't think much of it. He believed that Earth Dragon would explode and the white crystal would return. However, Luo Feng's spiritual force spread out and discovered that the Earth Dragon wasn't dead. What's going on? M.O. Henderson's expression changed. You don't even know that a treasure was eaten by a water monster. Luo Feng mocked. However, he was carefully looking at the earth dragon in the river. The earth dragon was actually a type of earthworm that evolved into one of the most terrifying type. They were usually at the horde leader level. Among the emperor level monsters, there was even an earth dragon king. Humph. Mo Henderson looked coldly at Luo Feng. After being hit by Luo Feng over 10 times, it was like a normal person getting kicked over 10 times. How could he not feel hatred? What's more, Mo Henderson was the high and mighty Ice Emperor. Others couldn't even speak disrespectfully to him, much less be humiliated like this. The strong could endure humiliation, but they definitely couldn't forget. The only thing was, Luo Feng's weapon made him wary. At this time, the two stared at the earth dragon in the lake. The earth dragon's body was constantly expanding. There was a faint white glow. The rice fragrance was extremely thick. It was the source of the earth dragon's fragrance. The white crystal must have been eaten by the earth dragon. Mo Henderson wasn't a spirit reader. How could he constantly pay attention to the treasure? The monsters didn't eat it earlier. Mo Henderson wasn't worried about them. He thought that if they wanted to eat it, they would have done it long before he and Luo Feng arrived. So his only opponent was Luo Feng. Suddenly, the 50-meter-long earth dragon fiercely raised its head and howled. Chi-chi, a single horn grew out of its forehead. The earth dragon that was originally glowing with white light suddenly began to convulse. Its body swiftly expanded. Single horn. Mo Henderson was shocked. Emperor level. Luo Feng was shocked too. A middle-level horde leader-level monster ate the white crystal and directly evolved into an emperor-level monster? How is that possible? Luo Feng was completely shocked. Suddenly, a thought flashed through his mind. Back then, there was no fame at all. Did the emperor tentacle monster that suddenly appeared eat the white crystal and evolve? P.S. 3 chapters completed. Chapter 213. Tomato would be very busy today and tomorrow. He could only think of a way to write a chapter every day. Everyone was understanding. Chapter 214. Luo Feng was very clear, with Hongs and Thunder Gods monitoring of Earth. Even the stronger Emperor-level monsters have been recorded long ago. And the birth of an Emperor-level monster, logically speaking, is a long and arduous process of growth. But a monster emperor suddenly popping out from some inland lake. Unbelievable! This was also the reason why Hong, Thunder God, and the entire world's countries were paying close attention to this place. My God! Mo Henderson's gaze froze, completely shocked. Luo Feng also carefully stared at the evolving Earth Dragon King, only to see the Earth Dragon King's long body rapidly expanding. Its width, length, and color were all changing. Howl, this newly born Earth Dragon King raised its head and let out a painful howl. The horn on its forehead was growing at a rate of about 1 centimeter per second. Its strength was soaring. This kind of soaring speed made even Luo Feng, who had consumed the 1,000-year willow heart and dragon blood, feel shocked. It was like reaching the heavens in one step. Head, it's me, Luo Feng. Luo Feng knew the severity of the situation. Luo Feng, what's the matter? Hong's voice was still cold and calm. Where I am now, there was a strange white crystal that was swallowed by a middle-level horde leader-level Earth Dragon. Now, this Earth Dragon, in a short span of 10 seconds, directly evolved to the Emperor level. It's still in the process of evolving. Luo Feng's expression was serious, quickly reporting. Stay where you are, I'll be there immediately. Hong's voice had a rare sense of urgency. At the same time, China had stationed a huge saucer passenger plane on the shore of Misty Islands Lake. The other representatives had already gone to explore, leaving China's strongest person, Jia Yi, at the command center to oversee the situation. Warning, a rapidly growing life force has been detected. Warning. The round hall resounded with a panicked voice. Jia Yi, who was originally standing there calmly like a rock, had a look of shock on his face. Display the location, Jia Yi ordered. The screen on the wall quickly zoomed in, focusing on a certain spot within a 500-meter radius. At the same time, a staff member's voice rang out. Commander, there are 2 Councilman Ranker's life auras here, and just now, a life aura that wasn't that strong suddenly soared, surpassing all the other monster auras around Fog Isle. We can confirm, it should be an Emperor-tier monster. In other words, in just 10 short seconds, a Lord-class monster transformed into a King-class monster. The staff member's voice trembled slightly. Your team has confirmed this conjecture? Jia Yi's expression changed. 90% sure, the staff member replied. Continue monitoring. After Jia Yi gave the order, he immediately controlled the tactical communications watch in his hand. Zhu Shi, Old Deng, Tuoba, hurry to the coordinates I gave you, I'll be there immediately. China was not the only country that had this kind of detection device. This kind of detection device had been found in an ancient civilization ruin back then. Because there were many of them, all 5 countries had gotten their hands on them. Therefore, almost at the same time, everyone discovered the uniqueness of this place. After spending so much time without any results, the people of the various countries quickly gathered here. More than 2,000 meters underground, the originally turbulent underground river had now become frenzied. Boom, boom, boom. Just like the center of a 12th-level hurricane, the Earth Dragon King rolled and twisted its huge and powerful body in pain, causing the entire underground river to shake violently, creating waves that smashed against the surrounding rock. The Earth Dragon King that had become 5 to 6 meters thick and over 100 meters long, every time it rolled and twisted, it caused the surrounding mountains to crumble and the earth to crack. Luo Feng and Ice Emperor floated in mid-air. The rocks fell, the wind blew, the waves crashed. To the 2 Star Traveler warriors, it was like a spring breeze. Nothing could get within a 1-meter radius of them. Luo Feng's spirit force easily blocked it. And around the Ice Emperor, a white cold air formed, forming a white barrier, protecting him well. Luo Feng and Ice Emperor looked down at the Earth Dragon King. So what if it transformed? Ice Emperor was a Star Traveler Level 3 fighter. Even though Luo Feng was only a Star Traveler Level 1 spirit reader, his consciousness was strong, and he had the spirit weapon Soaring Shuttle. His strength was no less than the Ice Emperor's. For the 2 of them to deal with a Earth Dragon King that had just become an Emperor-level monster, any one of them would be able to do it easily. At this time, to Luo Feng and Ice Emperor, killing the Earth Dragon King wasn't important. The important thing was, they had to see clearly, just what miraculous effects the white crystal had, just how strong it was. Rumble! A black light pierced through the rocks. With a speed that made Luo Feng and Ice Emperor's hearts tremble, it appeared above the underground river. It was the black-clothed Hong. Head! Luo Feng flew over. Hong nodded, glancing at the distant Ice Emperor M.O. Henderson, the arrogant M.O. Henderson from before. Under Hong's gaze, he couldn't help but bow. Right now on Earth, the only one who could converse with Hong was Thunder God. The difference between the others and Hong was too huge. Luo Feng, this is the Earth Dragon King? Hong looked at the Earth Dragon King that was about to finish its transformation. That's it. 20 seconds ago, it was still a middle-level Horde leader-level Earth Dragon. Luo Feng confirmed. M.O. Henderson? Hong looked at the Ice Emperor. The Ice Emperor bowed. First Chairman, the truth is exactly as Luo Feng said. With just 1 crystal, it allowed a middle-level Horde leader-level to jump to an Emperor-level monster? Hong creased his eyebrows, unable to believe it. One had to know, jumping from a high-level Horde leader to Emperor-level, the difficulty wasn't any lower than the human advanced level War God jumping to the Star Traveler level. And the reason why the monster race had more Emperor-level monsters than the human Star Traveler-level warriors was because there were too many of them. It was because there were too many monsters. How few human fighters were there? With a large base, it resulted in more Emperor-level monsters. The more here was relative to the human Star Traveler-level warriors. To the entire monster race, the number of Emperor-level monsters was still pitifully small. And now, with just one crystal, it allowed a middle-level horde leader to jump to an Emperor-level warrior. This was equivalent to one crystal, allowing an intermediate-level war god to jump to a representative-level warrior. Was that possible? Any human war god on Earth had to reach the pinnacle of the advanced-level war god level before their consciousness and other aspects became stronger, finally breaking through with great difficulty. "Hong, you found a treasure and you didn't call me." A voice resounded. A white-robed silhouette appeared in the air above the river. "Greetings, Thunder God." Luo Feng bowed. "Greetings, Second Chairman." The Ice Emperor also bowed. "Luo Feng, you really are your head's lucky star." Thunder God smiled. "It's a pity. This Earth Dragon has evolved into an Earth Dragon King. Its life energy has suddenly become tens to hundreds of times stronger. The equipment has all been tested. The other countries will probably arrive soon." Just as he finished speaking, a silhouette broke through the mountain rocks and came over. After that, Xiao, Star Traveler silhouettes appeared in the air above the river. "Earth Dragon King? There's actually an Earth Dragon King? Don't tell me the life energy that became so strong, is it? It evolved from a horde leader to an emperor level?" Many representative warriors floated in the air above the river, looking down at the Earth Dragon King. The Earth Dragon King had already finished its evolution. Its large eyes were filled with fear as it looked at the humans above. With its intelligence, it had long known that humans that could fly were the true pinnacle warriors, able to fight against Emperor-level monsters. Even though it had evolved into an Emperor level, but there were too many of them. Chi-Chi, the Earth Dragon King, fiercely dove into the river, trying to burrow deep into the ground. "Still trying to escape?" Hong waved his hand. The black domain immediately spread out, enveloping the Earth Dragon King within. Falling into Hong's heart-palpitating black domain, the Earth Dragon King immediately struggled madly. However, it felt like its entire body was tied up by countless ropes. It couldn't break free at all, letting out low roars of pain. "Break!" Hong waved his hand. A black light shot through the Earth Dragon King's head, purring. The head immediately exploded, brain matter splattering everywhere. Hong and Thunder God immediately carefully examined the Earth Dragon King's broken head. "No problem." Hong creased his eyebrows. "Just like a normal evolution of the Earth Dragon King." Thunder God creased his eyebrows too. In the air above the underground river, many human warriors floated. The Earth Dragon King that had just evolved into an Emperor-level monster was just like that, like a lab rat, killed and dissected. America, China, the European Union, India, Russia, the HR Alliance, all the warriors couldn't help but tremble at Hong's simple act of killing the Earth Dragon King. They all knew Hong was powerful, but every time they saw him attack, it always made them feel powerless and helpless. "Luo Feng, tell me again about the crystal from before, explain it clearly." Hong turned and said, "Yes, head." Luo Feng carefully recalled, emphasizing, "This is a white crystal, it was floating above the river before, as though it was incredibly light, strangely floating in mid-air. Moreover, the faint white halo of this white crystal even gave off a trace of light in this dark underground. And there was the smell of rice." "Smell of rice? White crystal? Floating? Eating it and letting the monster evolve?" Hong pondered. Thunder God was also pondering. Right, there was a horde leader-level monster that ate the white crystal. However, the moment it ate it, its body exploded and died. The white crystal was not damaged at all. Luo Feng added, "Ate it, its body exploded?" The eyes of Hong, god of thunder, and even 3 of the councilman powerhouses lit up. Archaeological ruin number 5. A black representative couldn't help but exclaim, his body trembling. It's the Muya crystal, it's the Muya crystal. A Chinese representative also exclaimed. It's the Muya crystal. Hong and Thunder God looked at each other, their eyes filled with passion and madness. The cloud contact vine appeared on Earth. Even the universe's most precious Muya crystal appeared on Earth. Thunder God couldn't help but mumble. Muya crystal. Luo Feng, who was beside, was suspicious, repeating the name. Just what did the Muya crystal represent? Looking at Hong and Thunder God, these two were the pinnacle existences of Earth. At this moment, they couldn't hide the madness in their eyes. Even though he didn't know the use of the crystal, Luo Feng could guess. The Muya crystal was definitely much more valuable than the spirits of nature. In the vast universe, it could be considered a treasure. P.S. I've been busy all day today. Let's forgive everyone for today and tomorrow. We'll be back to normal the day after tomorrow. Everyone take a guess, what does the Muya crystal do? Just a reminder, it's not as simple as it seems. Chapter 2:15. Muya crystal. Luo Feng and the other representatives were all curious. Just what exactly was this Muya crystal? Everyone looked towards Hong, Thunder God and the others, but they were all smart people. From Hong's and Thunder God's reactions, they could guess. This Muya crystal was definitely a treasure. This is called a Muya crystal? A blonde curly-haired representative from the European Union asked curiously. After eating this crystal, a horde leader monster can actually evolve into an emperor-level monster. If it eats more, won't it become even stronger? Don't tell me the emperor evolved from eating the Muya crystal? Silence. The Earth's warriors floating above the underground river were all silent. Hong and the others who knew of the Muya crystal's uniqueness couldn't help but look angrily at the blonde representative who spoke. The blonde curly-haired representative purposely had a suspicious expression on his face. The 5 who knew of the Muya crystal's uniqueness all knew. The emperor evolved because of the Muya crystal. However, the few who knew the secret didn't want to say it, because the moment they did, it would cause chaos. Emperor! Right, this lake doesn't have any environment to give birth to an emperor, it must be the Muya crystal. The emperor ate the Muya crystal. Just now the Earth Dragon King also ate the Muya crystal. There must be quite a lot of them. There must be more Muya crystals at the bottom of this misty lake. Let's hurry and find them. All sorts of hushed discussions broke out. Quite a few of them secretly glanced at Hong, Thunder God and the other representatives' reactions. Hurry, 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 let's go find the Muya crystal. Let's go. Be it in English or some other languages, these counselors immediately called out to their comrades or informed their side's command center. In an instant, a large number of representatives either followed the river or drilled through the rock stratum, beginning their crazy search. It was different from before. Before, none of them had a clear target. Now, their eyes were all gleaming. Watching the representatives from the other powers leave one by one, Hong and Thunder God looked at each other. I dare say that guy just said that on purpose, Thunder God said softly. No one is an idiot. Hong's expression was calm. Aren't you anxious? You need them more than I do. Thunder God's face revealed a smile. Hong, however, turned to look at the 3 behind him. Luo Feng, Allure and Ice Mountain, ordering. There's definitely more Muya crystals in the Misty Islands underground. Quickly search as much as you can. Yes, master. Luo Feng and the other 2 complied. Go. Hong faintly nodded. After which, he swiftly charged into the lake and tunneled deeper into the lake. Luo Feng released his spirit energy domain and swiftly advanced underground. Dojo Master, Thunder God, and the others who know of the Muya crystal's effects, did not say what it can do. Luo Feng's gaze was cold. It's exactly because you didn't say it, it proves one thing. This Muya crystal is indeed enough to make people go crazy. On Earth, To obtain treasures from the universe was an extremely rare opportunity. Luo Feng didn't dare relax at all. He quickly explored for about 25 minutes. Luo Feng. A voice resounded from the tactical communications Wat. Jia Yi. Luo Feng replied. Congratulations, your dojo master just received a Muya crystal. But 7 or 8 people saw it. Jia Yi said. Oh. Luo Feng was slightly shocked. Within half an hour, the second Muya crystal had been discovered, and the one who obtained it was Hong. After cutting off the transmission, Luo Feng concentrated even more on his exploration. The first was swallowed by a monster, the second was obtained by the head. This underground, there are indeed many Muya crystals. Just 16 minutes later, within the dark rock layer, the water from the underground seeped through the rock layer. A nauseating smell permeated the air. Luo Feng followed his usual practice and sniffed again. A star traveler's developed sense of smell made Luo Feng immediately detect that within the nauseating smell was a faint rice fragrance. That's it. Luo Feng, with his experience, immediately determined. It's over there. Luo Feng's eyes lit up. So, the black helmet on his head swiftly formed a sharp point. The soaring shuttle beneath his feet exerted force. Chi-Chi. The rock layer was even weaker than tofu. It was immediately torn apart. Luo Feng seemed to have transformed into an underground drilling machine, using a shocking speed to rush towards the direction of the rice fragrance. There was a series of roars mixed with curses like F***CK. HM? Luo Feng rushed straight into the huge underground cave that had already been blasted out by the Star Traveler warriors. The moment he entered, he was shocked to discover beside him, a South Asian fighter's body had already been cut in two, sprawled on the rock. Even though his body had been cut in two, with his intestines leaking out, his upper body was still struggling, following which his head drooped down and stopped moving. A silhouette rushed over, kneeling beside him. Maha. You actually killed Maha? Representative Far, you've gone too far. The 3 Indians stared angrily at each other, facing the 4 Star Traveler warriors from the European Union. A war god obediently hand over the Muya crystals. We can still spare his life. If he dares resist, he's looking for death. One of the 4 representatives from the European Union laughed coldly. The 4 of them were representatives, while the other side only had 2 representatives left. Luo Feng? Let's go. The 4 from the European Union saw Luo Feng arrive, turning and immediately drilling into the rock layer, swiftly leaving. Bastard. The Indian side gritted their teeth. They actually killed someone? Luo Feng looked at the corpse on the ground, following which he contacted the head through his tactical communications watch. Head, I'm Luo Feng. At my current location, the European Union just snatched a Muya crystal from the Indian side, at the same time killing a war god fighter from the Indian side. They finally killed someone. Hong's voice resounded through the tactical communications watch. Luo Feng, in that short period of time, the people from the various countries have clashed. This is the first time they've killed someone. You have to be careful from now on. This is a fight between countries and even between dojos. It's undisguised and cruel. Understood. Luo Feng said softly. Representing the various countries to fight for the Muya crystal. Even if they killed someone? Who would judge? No one could judge. Luo Feng glanced at the corpse being collected. Without enough power, obtaining the treasure would be a disaster. After which, Luo Feng left. That night, 1056, the first Muya crystal was discovered, swallowed by an earth dragon, following which the transformed Earth Dragon King was killed by Hong. 1131, the second Muya crystal was discovered, acquired by Hong. 1147, the third Muya crystal was discovered, acquired by the European Union side. This was the first time there was a death. From then on, the originally restrained parties no longer held back. All of them became even more bloodthirsty. Late at night, at 012, the fourth Muya crystal was discovered, in the hands of the Americans. This time, The battle between the Americans and the Russians had resulted in a total of 3 representatives from both sides being heavily injured. Amongst the 3 representatives, one of them had his internal organs ruptured. Fortunately, he had consumed the water of life in time, or else that representative would have fallen. From then on, the parties became even more frenzied. Late at night, 1:56, after a gap of almost 2 hours, the 5th and 6th Muya crystals were found at the same time. This time, Thunder God obtained them. Even though the other star travelers were extremely envious, they didn't dare fight for it. 6 Muya crystals had already been discovered, other than one being swallowed by the Earth Dragon. This time, the star travelers gathered around Misty Island had already acquired 5. Our luck is really good, to get 2 Muya crystals in one go. Within the huge underground cave, over 10 star travelers were staring at Thunder God in the middle, his left hand holding the 2 glowing white crystals, making everyone's eyes green with envy. However, even Hong beside him didn't make a move, which other representative would dare to. Head Hong, I'll make a move first. Thunder God smiled at Hong, who was rushing over. 2. Hong shook his head helplessly. Let's go, continue searching for Muya crystals. Hong turned and left. The dojo of Limit's Beast and Luo Feng, who had just arrived, also immediately turned and continued searching. One of the 3 personal guards, the one with the strongest power amongst the 3 beast, had just arrived an hour ago. I've already found 5. 1 for the Master, 1 for the European Union, 1 for the United States, and 2 for Thor. Luo Feng swiftly descended. In one breath he reached a depth of about 4,000 m, swiftly searching at this depth. In terms of search area, me and the 4th representative Eastbourne are both star traveler spirit readers. Our search area is the largest. Both of us, however, haven't found a single Muya crystal. Luo Feng had just seen Thunder God acquire 2 Muya crystals. His heart itched and he continued to search seriously. After about half an hour, Luo Feng sniffed and sniffed again. Right, the smell of rice. Luo Feng let out a look of glee, confirming the direction of the smell and swiftly approaching. Searching for Muya crystals was extremely fast. The moment he hesitated, others might get there first. Chi. After breaking a piece of rock, a hua-hua sound immediately carried over. It turns out that this place was an extremely thin underground stream mixed within the layer of rock. When Luo Feng broke through this layer of rock, a thick smell of rice instantly carried over. Luo Feng turned his head to look, and his pupils couldn't help but to shrink. My God! Luo Feng felt his heart stop beating, blood rushing to his head. Beside the thin underground stream, 3 white lights were bobbing up and down, floating, the thick smell of rice wafting over. 3 Muya crystals. Luo Feng didn't have time to be surprised. He immediately waved his hand. His formless spirit energy was like a huge formless hand, swiftly grabbing the 3 crystals 20 m away and retrieving them. Pung! A rumbling sound. In the distance, 3 silhouettes smashed through the rock. One of them was the Ice Emperor M.O. Henderson, the other 2 representatives from the European Union. 3 Muya crystals. 3. The 3 barely saw the 3 Muya crystals. They had already landed in Luo Feng's hand. They're mine. Luo Feng's gaze was sharp like never before. Luo Feng immediately kept the Muya crystals into his Black God Set's vest. Unless he killed himself, he wouldn't be able to get the crystals. Luo Feng's cold gaze swept past the 2 from the European Union, looking again at the 3rd representative, Ice Emperor M.O. Henderson, who had once become a target. Everyone, I'll make a move first. Luo Feng immediately became a black light, drilling into the rock. P.S. Updated. Tomorrow, Tomatoes will have plenty of time. Tomorrow is Saturday, Tomatoes will make up for it 2 hours later. Also, those with monthly votes and recommendation votes, let's support them, the numbers don't look good. Chapter 216. He actually didn't chase me, That Mo Henderson probably has some reservations after being beaten up by me the last time. Luo Feng flew through the rock stratum, letting out a sigh of relief. He originally thought Mo Henderson and the other two would make a move, but they didn't stop him. Once he entered the rock stratum, the three couldn't stop him even if they wanted to. The two representatives from the European Union watched helplessly as Luo Feng slipped away. They couldn't help but feel anxious and angry. They couldn't help but look at Ice Emperor Mo Henderson beside them. One of them, a middle-aged man with brown curly hair, couldn't help but say, "Third representative, that's a total of 3 Muya crystals. You're just going to watch Luo Feng take them away?" "3." The other said anxiously. "Humph." Ice Emperor looked coldly at the two. He had long seen through their plans. He couldn't help but smile coldly. "Bo and Ite, if the two of you want the Muya crystals, chase them yourselves. If you want to make use of me, Mo Henderson, you must be dreaming." After saying that, Ice Emperor became a blur and entered the rock stratum, causing large amounts of rocks to tumble down. Only the two representatives from the European Union were left in the empty cave. Their bodies were covered in a fire barrier and a pale green barrier, holding up the surrounding rocks. "That's weird. How did Mo Henderson's temper change?" The two representatives from the European Union looked at each other, dumbfounded. Seeing Luo Feng acquire 3 Muya crystals, they were naturally envious. However, Luo Feng was able to kill Li Yao before even stepping into the Star Traveler level. Now that he stepped into the Star Traveler level, his power would definitely be much stronger, definitely not something the two of them could handle. It was only natural that they placed their hopes on Mo Henderson to make a move. From their point of view, if the third representative were to act, there was still hope. When the two of them joined forces and took advantage of the chaos to acquire a Muya crystal, there was hope too. This Ice Emperor's temper wasn't this good in the past. His tyranny, who doesn't know? He is tyrannical. I thought he would act to stop us earlier, but who knew he didn't even do anything? Bo and Ite, I heard this Ice Emperor, when the first Muya crystal appeared. He exchanged blows with Luo Feng. The blond curly-haired white man said in a low voice, "At that time, I thought it was fake news. Now, it seems that the news is most likely true. And the Ice Emperor may have been at a disadvantage against Luo Feng, or in other words, he didn't have the advantage." "Oh." The middle-aged man with curly brown hair was slightly taken aback. Unless the Ice Snow Emperor is fearful of him, how could he not care? Previously, for the sake of a single Muya crystal, the Ice Emperor had brought his men to fight against the Russians. This time there are 3. The blond curly-haired man's eyes lit up. "That makes sense. Right, quickly spread the news of Luo Feng's 3 crystals. We can't let Luo Feng get too comfortable." These two representatives, including the Ice Emperor Mo Henderson, all quickly spread the news. Luo Feng had acquired 3 Muya crystals. In the depths of the dark underground, the smell of decay filled the air. "Luo Feng," a voice resounded from the tactical communications watch on his wrist. Luo Feng heard it and replied, "Head. You've acquired 3 Muya crystals?" The head's voice resounded from the tactical communications watch. Luo Feng was slightly shocked. The news spread really quickly. It hadn't even been a minute since he acquired the 3 crystals, and the head already knew. Many thoughts flashed through his mind. Luo Feng replied, "Yes, head." "Very good, stay where you are, I'll be right there," Hong said. After a while, rumble. A black light broke through the rocks and appeared beside Luo Feng. It was Hong dressed in black. "Head." Luo Feng bowed. "Luo Feng, your luck is indeed not bad." Hong couldn't help but laugh as he complimented. "You've acquired 3 Muya crystals, according to what we agreed before. 60% of them are yours, that's 8 crystals. For now, we'll make it a round number. You've acquired 2, the other one belongs to the dojo of Limit." "Yes, head." Luo Feng didn't hesitate, immediately handing over 1 crystal. Hong extended his hand and the fragrant Muya crystal landed in his hand. swiftly keeping it. Rumble. Two silhouettes appeared beside him. It was Hua Xia's Jia Yi and Zhu Shi who were attracted by the fragrant rice. Seeing Hong and Luo Feng beside them, Jia Yi's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't help but laugh. Greetings, First Chairman, looks like you've gained something again, congratulations. It's nothing much, it's just that Luo Feng just acquired 3 Muya crystals and gave them to me. Hong said. Jia Yi looked at Luo Feng. Then I really have to congratulate you. After which he turned and brought Zhu Shi, swiftly leaving. After watching the two leave, Hong turned to Luo Feng, smiling. Luo Feng, these Muya crystals are very troublesome. If you meet anyone else, just tell them you've given them to me. They won't dare find trouble with you. Even though your current strength is not bad, if a few representatives were to team up against you, it would still be troublesome. Luo Feng nodded. Indeed, the soaring shuttle could only attack one person. If a few representatives were to team up and attack him, with his weak body compared to the other representatives, it would indeed be dangerous. Let's continue. There seems to be a lot of Muya crystals hidden under this misty island. Hong let out a rare smile, turning and disappearing into the rocks. Just what are the Muya crystals' effects? Luo Feng watched as the head left, his heart filled with questions. However, the head and the others have been unwilling to say, so I can't ask too much. Forget it. I'll just work hard to collect more Muya crystals for now. There are only benefits and no downsides. After the last time when he acquired quite a few spirits of nature, Luo Feng understood. The chances of acquiring treasures were extremely rare. Naturally, even though he was a star traveler, it was extremely difficult to acquire even a single spirit of nature. This time, he had to take the opportunity to get more. At 2:30 a.m., Luo Feng alone acquired 3 Muya crystals, which was humanity's 7th and 9th. After that, it seemed as though humanity's good luck had run out. A full 3 hours passed without a single harvest. At 6:08 in the morning, the Chinese side finally obtained their first Muya crystal, which was also the 10th Muya crystal discovered by the human martial artist. At 8:36 in the morning, India obtained the 11th Muya crystal. Almost at the same time, they discovered the 12th Muya crystal, acquired by Hong. This was a battle that caused all the powers on Earth to go crazy over it. Very quickly, it was 5:31 p.m. of the second day. At this time, the excavation had already gone on for close to 20 hours. Humanity had discovered a total of 18 Muya crystals. Other than one that was eaten by an emperor-level monster, the other 17 had all been acquired. Of course, the so-called 18 was public information. Some countries, powers, individuals, discovered a Muya crystal by themselves, quietly keeping it in their pockets without anyone knowing. Hence, even though the public statistics were 18 discovered, 17 acquired. In reality, humanity's fighters had acquired more than 20 Muya crystals. At 5:31 p.m., the various powers on Earth finally welcomed their biggest harvest, a total of 8 Muya crystals. All of them had appeared. The first to discover these 8 crystals were Luo Feng and the HR Alliance's Eastbourne and a group of people. However, the smell of the 8 crystals was too strong. In just a few seconds, the number of star travelers fighting had risen to over 10. More than 10 star travelers were engaged in a chaotic battle on the surging and wide underground river 2,000 meters below the surface. Be careful of Luo Feng. Get out of the way. 2 representatives from America shouted anxiously. A terrifying spinning sound that seemed to tear space apart rang out. A golden light, like an invitation from the King of Hell, fiercely bombarded the abdomen of a black representative. The SS-grade battle suit on the surface of his body was directly drilled open. Then, the heart-palpitating golden light heavily bombarded the black god set, causing the black representative to fiercely slam into the rock wall at the side. The rock wall shook violently, and then a large number of cracks silently appeared on it. Then, countless gravel directly fell from the mountain wall, rolling down. Poog, the black representative spat out fresh blood, his body sticking to the wall as he fell powerlessly. Water of life. As the black representative fell, he immediately threw a test tube into his mouth. Gotcha! Immediately biting into the test tube, the water of life within was swiftly absorbed. Pooh! The black representative swiftly spat out the glass shards in his mouth, mixed with a few strands of blood. Get out of the way! Luo Feng roared softly, pointing at the distant warrior Eastbourne. Ong, the soaring shuttle that had transformed into a mountain drill instantly transformed into a streak of golden light and directly arrived in front of the fourth speaker, Eastbourne, as though it had teleported. Eastbourne also used his telekinesis power to control many hidden weapons to quickly block the attack. Only then did he manage to dodge the attack by a fluke. Well done. Beside, a tall and strong man with a head full of golden hair, like a lion, punched the star travelers one by one, letting out an excited roar, grabbing a white crystal. Wild beast, beautiful! Luo Feng shouted. Allure, careful! Ice Mountain shouted from the side. A silver-white light was sneaking towards the Royal Guard Allure. This was a chaotic battle. Within a short 10 seconds, the 8 Muya crystals produced a thick rice fragrance, attracting 18 star travelers. Luckily, Ice Mountain, Allure and Wild Beast, the 3 royal guards, were together at the time. With their participation, they immediately helped Luo Feng. This gave the Dojo of Limits a certain amount of power in this battle, and they began to snatch the Muya crystals. That's crazy, 8 crystals appearing at once? Luo Feng was still in disbelief. This underground river, the first crystal appeared in the upper reaches of this river. It was carefully searched back then. Who would have thought 8 crystals would appear at once? Luo Feng himself realized these floating crystals could move on their own. Why isn't the head here yet? Allure shouted. The head will be here soon. Wild Beast roared. Get out of the way! Luo Feng fiercely roared. Ong, the familiar voice resounded once again. The representatives of the European Union, America, India, and the HR Alliance all felt bitter in their hearts. After suddenly discovering the 8 crystals battle royale, Luo Feng's unique attack had truly become famous. That golden stream of light, his attack speed was extremely fast. Its power was extremely great. Even the 3rd representative Ice Emperor couldn't dodge it. Even the 4th representative Eastbourne, who was also a star traveler spirit reader, couldn't completely dodge it. Strange, too strange. My spirit energy was just about to exert some external force on his golden light weapon, however, just as I was about to get close, it was ripped apart by that strange golden energy. Eastbourne was having a headache as he realized the golden light that the weapon contained was a very special energy. It had an extremely strong tearing force. Even his spirit energy would be ripped apart the moment it got close. Rumble! The surrounding space shook violently. A black silhouette appeared within the chaotic battle of the star travelers. Almost as though time had stopped, the black domain swiftly spread out, almost like a god's domain. In an instant it covered a 100 m area, including Luo Feng and the other 12 star travelers were all caught up in it. What? Luo Feng felt as though he was a normal person with a few 100 kilograms of weight on his body. Even walking or raising his arms was extremely taxing, and there were countless water plants tangling around his arms and legs. Unable to move. Under Hong's domain, no one could resist at all. Everyone was silent. In the air above the raging river, everyone stopped fighting. Hong picked up the last Muya crystal that hadn't been taken yet, walking towards Luo Feng and the others. Allure immediately reported. Reporting to the head, the 4 of us have a total of 3 Muya crystals. The main thing was that Luo Feng found it. He also played a major role in this battle, intimidating the 3rd and 4th representative. Hong nodded, turning to look at Luo Feng. Luo Feng. Head. Luo Feng replied. Hong nodded. You did well. This time, the battle didn't last more than 30 seconds, and the Dojo of Limits was the biggest beneficiary. receiving 4 Muya crystals. America and the European Union each received 1 Muya crystal, the HR Alliance received 2, and India received none. Watching Hong lead Luo Feng and the others away, the other star travelers all began to discuss. 4 crystals. The Dojo of Limits really earned a lot this time. The main thing was still Luo Feng, holding back the 3rd and 4th representative. Luo Feng's attacks are terrifying. So powerful, if it wasn't for the water of life, at least 3 representatives would have died under his hands. Even the 3rd and 4th representatives couldn't do anything to Luo Feng. The other representatives discussed softly in the past, even though they valued Luo Feng, they didn't really care. However, this group of people didn't expect Luo Feng's strength to be on the same level as the 3rd and 4th representative. They all immediately remembered, never provoke Luo Feng. They all believed. Earth's current strongest were Hong and Thunder God. This was the 1st tier. After that was Luo Feng, the 3rd, 4th and 5th representatives. These 4 were the 2nd tier. And Jia Yi Yen Hai and a few other Star Traveler Level 2 fighters, as well as the Star Traveler Level 1 fighters with special techniques. There were more than 10 of them. They were the 3rd tier. The remaining 40 or so Star Traveler Level 1 fighters, they were the 4th tier. Go. Hurry up and find the Muya crystals. The Indian representatives all shouted. Hurry, hurry, hurry. The Ice Emperor too shouted anxiously. Immediately, the group of star travelers swiftly flew away. This Muya crystal feast wasn't over yet. P.S. The first chapter has ended. The next chapter, the climax begins. Chapter 217. China time, January 8, 2059, 11:36 at night. However, in the misty islands of the Australian continent, it was daytime. Pung. In the vast white lake, Luo Feng broke through the water and floated in mid-air. It's been almost 3 days since I've seen the sun. Luo Feng looked up at the blue sky and the flocks of flying beasts flying in the distance, looking down at the lake below. In these 3 days, the Muya crystals have probably all been searched. The first day found the most, the second day much less, and on the 3rd day we've only found 2. However, judging from the results, these 3 days were not bad. Firstly, his luck was good, he'd gotten 3 at once. Secondly, as a Star Traveler Spirit Reader Master, his search efficiency was already in the top 3 of everyone. Combining the 2, Luo Feng had relied on his own strength to personally find 5 Muya crystals in these 3 days. If he were to include Ice Mountain, Allure and the Royal Guards, there were even more. Luo Feng. The head's voice resounded from the Tactical Communications Watch. These 3 days, Luo Feng's Tactical Communications Watch had been in constant contact with the others. Head. Luo Feng replied. Come to my current location. Yes. Luo Feng used the Tactical Communications Watch to confirm the head's location. HM? It's actually about 2000 m underground, one of the underground rivers. So, Luo Feng immediately descended, breaking through the surface of the lake and swiftly diving underground. 2000 m underground, a section of the vast and turbulent underground river. The black-clothed Hong, the 3 royal guards wearing golden masks, Allure, Beast and Ice Mountain, were all there. Even the other investigators of the Dojo of Limits were there. Pung. The ceiling split open, Luo Feng fell down, stepping on the surface of the lake and floating, swiftly flying over. Head. Luo Feng shouted. We'll talk later, there's still people not here yet. Hong nodded, looking at Luo Feng with a look of satisfaction. From the Dojo of Limits side, Hong, as the world's strongest warrior, had the most rewards, followed by Luo Feng. Luo Feng's name had spread far and wide in the fight for the Muya crystals. Earth star travelers were all clear. Luo Feng's current strength was enough to enter the 2nd tier. He was on the same level as the 3rd, 4th and 5th representative. This kind of strength was indeed very scary. The 3 chairmen, the 3rd and 5th chairman, were both at the 3rd Star Traveler level. and the fourth chairman Eastbourne was a Star Traveler Level 2 spirit reader. Under the dojo of limits, Hong was extremely happy to have a capable general like Luo Feng. Phew! Another figure flew over. It was one of the inspectors of the dojo of limits, Lu Ha. Dojo Master. Lu Ha respectfully bowed to the head, and then flew towards Luo Feng and the others. He laughed as he scolded, "Luo Feng, you've earned big this time. The other 4 inspectors do not earn as much as you do." Luck. Luo Feng laughed. This time, the head only brought Luo Feng, Allure, and Ice Mountain. After that, he sent Beast over. The other 5 inspectors weren't sent over, however. As the news of the Muya crystal spread, the other 5 investigators of the Dojo of Limits knew that the Muya crystal was extremely precious, and also knew that over half of the Star Traveler level fighters were gathered at Misty Island Lake. Immediately, Lu Ha, Vladimir, and the others rushed over in their fighter jet. However, after missing the first wave of discovery, Lu Ha and the others did not have much. "Alright, everyone is here." Hong looked at the 3 royal guards and the 6 inspectors, immediately forming a barrier around them. This time, our Dojo of Limits rewards are not small. Hong revealed a rare smile. According to what I said before, after discovering the Muya crystal and successfully acquiring it, the person who discovered the crystal will get 30%, the person who fought and acquired the crystal will also get 30%, the last 40% will go to the dojo. Beast, you discovered and acquired one by yourself, that's 60%, you'll get 0. 6, you'll team up and fight 3 times, according to your contributions, you'll get 1. 2 crystals. Hence, you'll get 1. 8 Muya crystals. Hong said. Yes, head. Royal Guard Beast said respectfully. Allure in total, you'll get 1. 6 Muya crystals. Ice Mountain in total, you'll get 2. 2 Muya crystals. Luha in total, you'll get 0. 3 Muya crystals. According to their contributions, everyone's rewards were calculated. The last one is Luo Feng. He's also the one with the most rewards. He alone and personally acquired 4 Muya crystals. According to the 60%, that's 2. 4 crystals. Team up and fighting 4 times. According to your contributions, you'll get 2. 1 crystals. So in total, you'll get 4. 5 crystals. After finishing, Hong began to distribute the crystals. Like Luo Feng, he first handed over the crystals, then received 4. Allure got 1. Ice Mountain got 2. For every Muya crystal, I can give you 20 stars. Hong said seriously. For example, Luo Feng, you have 4 Muya crystals on hand and 0.5 in your account. That means you have 10 stars in your account. Of course, you can use the crystals to exchange. Everyone else is the same. When we get back to the headquarters, you can exchange it for stars and buy items from me, Hong said. Hearing Hong's words, the 3 royal guards and the 6 inspectors all smiled. Luo Feng, you've earned big this time. 1 Muya crystal is worth 20 stars, you have 4.5, that's 90 stars. That's enough to buy a prehistoric level autojet. Lu Ha laughed. I'm pitiful 0.3, that's 6 stars. Compared to you. Luck, just luck. Luo Feng smiled humbly. In truth, he had acquired 5 Muya crystals alone, not 4. The search for Muya crystals this time, much of the information was made public, but there were still people who secretly acquired the crystals, no one else knew. Luo Feng had acquired 5 Muya crystals alone, 4 of them were discovered by others, only 1, no one else found it, hence Luo Feng naturally hid it. Actually, this was an unspoken rule. If he could avoid being discovered by everyone, he would hide it. Hong understood this logic, as the saying goes, when the water is too clear, there are no fish. Hong wouldn't be too ruthless. After all, for the person who acquired the Muya crystal to hand over 40% was already ruthless enough. Right now, in this misty lake, there shouldn't be any Muya crystals left. Hong looked at the others. Our search ends here. Those who want to go back can go, Those who want to try their luck here can continue searching. Whoever finds it will keep it 100% for themselves. However, the entire area has been searched. Don't get your hopes up." "Yes, head." Luo Feng and the others chatted for a while, then split up. Lu He, who was late, was unwilling to give up and wanted to continue searching. Beast, on the other hand, was preparing to return to the headquarters. "You guys go ahead. I'm not in a hurry." "Luo Feng, you've earned big, of course you're not in a hurry. We'll go search first." Luo Feng bid farewell to Lu He and the others, immediately diving into the ground, about 3,000 m below the lake, using his spiritual force to create a cave. Using the quantum computer. "Hello." Luo Feng called Su Xian's number. As of now, Earth's communication system was indeed very advanced. Other than archaeological ruin number 9 and other special areas, even deep underground, even in the magma layer, one could easily receive a signal. This was one of the biggest gains from the archaeological ruin. "Luo Feng, you've only thought of calling me now. Speak, what are you doing?" On the quantum computer screen, Su Xian was wrapped in a bathrobe, her hair dripping wet. "I've been in the Australian continent for the past few days." Luo Feng laughed. "I heard that the entire world's countries and the HR Alliance have all gone to the Australian continent, right? What are you guys doing?" "My grandfather wants to get some information, but this information is SSS grade within the HR Alliance. Even my grandfather can't see it." Su Xian's face was filled with curiosity. "We're fighting for a treasure, called the Muya Crystal." Luo Feng said. "Muya Crystal, what's it for?" Su Xian asked curiously. "I don't know either, I only know that this thing is priceless. If you really count it in terms of money, even a large passenger plane can't compare to a Muya Crystal." Luo Feng walked around the cave, speaking as he walked. "What? That can't be right?" Su Xian was shocked. "Right, your Su family's entire fortune added up, can't even compare to a Muya crystal." Luo Feng nodded. "My God!" Su Xian finally understood why even the head of the Su family didn't have the right to ask for information. Luo Feng didn't lie. Hong's price for one Muya crystal was 20 stars, one portion of dragon blood was only 1 star. One portion of dragon blood was worth 80 billion. One could only imagine the price of the Muya crystal. However, the Muya crystal to every country was even more important than nuclear weapons. It couldn't be measured with money, and nobody would use it to exchange for money. It was something that transcended the entire world's economic system. And in terms of price, Hong's 20 stars was actually quite low. However, with over 10 Muya crystals appearing on Earth, Hong couldn't give too high a price. One Muya crystal is worth more than our entire family's fortune. Su Xian was shocked. Surprised? In this fight for the Muya crystal, over 20 war god fighters have died. 3 councilmen had died. If it weren't for the life elixir, I'm afraid over 10 representatives would have died. Luo Feng couldn't scare Su Xian, so he reported another shocking news. "Representative, existences surpassing the war god level? 3 have fallen?" Su Xian was shocked by this news. Luo Feng was deep in the underground cave, taking a stroll while looking at Su Xian's shocked expression on the quantum computer. Watching his girlfriend's expression was a very interesting thing. Luo Feng, who was walking in the cave, suddenly felt a pain in his leg. "What's going on?" Luo Feng's back and forehead immediately broke out in cold sweat, his entire body moving 10 m away. He was a Star Traveler spirit reader, wearing SS-grade battle boots, with a black god set inside. With such protection, what kind of attack could hurt his leg? And he didn't even feel it at all. "Just what is it?" Luo Feng scanned with his spirit force. Within the range of his spirit force's scan, the place where Luo Feng's leg hurt earlier, there was an item stuck in a rock. "This is..." Luo Feng held his breath, walking over. Extending his hand, he picked up the blood-red shard stuck in the rock, holding it in his hand. So heavy. Just a palm-sized shard. According to Luo Feng's senses, it was at least a ton heavy. In terms of density, it already surpassed any material on Earth. One side of the blood-red shard had a sharp edge. This shard should be a shard from a battle blade. This blade has been stuck in the rock for who knows how many years, and he just stepped on it. His leg hurt. My leg. Luo Feng raised his right foot and looked. The bottom of this SS-grade battle boot was completely cut open. There was a hole. It was like being cut tofu by an incomparably sharp blade. Holy! Luo Feng looked at the hole in the bottom of his foot, completely dumbfounded. This. Luo Feng stuttered. His face was completely red. This is a SS-grade battle boot. What kind of concept is a SS-grade battle boot? In other words, it can withstand the attacks of an Emperor-level monster. Only after being attacked over and over again by an Emperor-level monster will it be able to break open. For example, the mountain drilling hammer can only break open an SS-grade battle boot with Luo Feng's 12 portions of spiritual force. Or else, with the mountain drilling hammer, even a war god can't break open an SS-grade battle boot. My god! I didn't use any strength at all, just walking and stepping on it. It broke open my SS-grade battle boot? Luo Feng held the blood-red shard in his hand. Just holding it in his hand, Luo Feng felt an indescribable chill, almost as though that sharp blade could cut through anything. Just how sharp is it? Luo Feng took off his boot. His right hand held the shard. Xiao. He easily waved the shard. Chi. Just like cutting tofu, the SS-grade battle boot was immediately cut into pieces, almost without any resistance. I didn't use much strength at all, probably about 10 tons of strength, and it easily cut through the SS-grade material. If I used my full strength, cutting through the monster Emperor's defense would be easy too. Thinking about this, Luo Feng's heart trembled. As though he had seen a ghost, he looked at the shard in his hand. This was a heavenly weapon. Much stronger than the soaring shuttle by who knows how many times. Just the shard itself could cut through the SS-grade material like tofu. The weapon's power was too great. This weapon was probably strong enough to threaten a monster or a beast emperor. It could even threaten Hong and Thunder God. No. This weapon is too terrifying. I definitely can't reveal it for now. The moment it's revealed, I'm afraid no matter how much they value me, Hong and Thunder God wouldn't let me have this heavenly weapon. Luo Feng was very clear on this point. This was definitely Earth's strongest weapon. An unbelievable weapon. Just whose weapon is this? How did it break? Luo Feng carefully caressed the blood-red shard. He could faintly feel the ancient energy coming from it. It was an energy that had lain dormant for who knows how many years. P.S. Haha, the strongest weapon has been born. Even though there were only 2 chapters today, adding up to close to 3. Brothers, let's vote for Tomato. Tomato needs everyone's votes now. Chapter 218. Caressing the blood-red shard, Luo Feng's heart was trembling, nervous. There was no way he wouldn't be nervous. It was like a beggar suddenly discovering an abandoned factory with 10 piles of gold, each pile as tall as 2 people. This kind of shock was a complete shock. With just a little bit of strength, he was able to cut through the SS-grade boot. This was enough to make anyone on Earth go crazy. Who? Calm down. This state of excitement lasted for a while, before Luo Feng gradually calmed down and began to think about it. It's very obvious this is just a shard. I'm a spirit reader. I can use my spirit energy to control it and use it like a throwing knife to kill enemies. However, to Thunder God and Hong, this shard's attraction isn't as exaggerated as I thought it would be. After calming down, Luo Feng understood. Hong and Thunder God are fighters. Hong uses a spear, Thunder God uses a blade. And this shard, even if I gave it to them, they wouldn't be able to use it. Smelting a weapon? Such a strange material, smelting it would be very, very difficult. Even though Luo Feng didn't really understand the blood-red shard in his hands, after a short period of contact, he understood that this was definitely a very, very terrifying shard. That kind of shard, how could it not withstand the extreme heat and low temperatures? Hong and Thunder God had a hard time attacking with the shard. This shard thing, only spirit readers could use their spirit energy to control and use it. No matter what. Without 100% protection, this shard, it's best if I don't use it. Luo Feng immediately made his decision. From today onwards, this shard will be my personal treasure. I definitely won't take it out under normal circumstances. Unless I'm in a difficult situation, I'll take it out to kill. And the moment I attack, I have to kill the enemy. Within his heart, Luo Feng had already treated this shard as his strongest trump card. After all, even using the mountain drill with all his strength, it still required a bit of strength to break through the SS-grade armor. Obviously the shard's power was much stronger. Go! Luo Feng's thoughts moved, his spirit energy wrapped around the shard, simultaneously taking off his left and right boots. His left and right boots were wrapped up in mid-air by his spirit energy. Break! The blade shard, under the control of his spirit energy, became a blood-red beam of light. Chi, 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 a very soft sound. The two SS-grade boots, under the blood-red beam of light's swift return, the boots were swiftly sliced. By the time Luo Feng stopped, the two boots had become a large amount of shards falling from mid-air. So powerful. And its flying speed is very fast too, obviously exceeding 10 times the speed of sound, yet there's no sonic boom. Luo Feng took in a deep cold breath. Normally, war gods who use weapons that weigh a few hundred kilograms can slash at several times the speed of sound. And Luo Feng, a Star Traveler Level 1 spirit reader, using his spirit energy to control a shard that weighed a ton, his speed was normal. However, logically speaking, he shouldn't be able to catch up to them in terms of speed. The ones he used were light blades and flying knives. But when he really tried it out, he discovered something strange. Even though the blade fragment traveled at 10 times the speed of sound, it didn't create any sonic boom. In front of the blade shard, even the air seemed to be sliced apart. The air resistance was very, very small. One must know that the faster the speed, the more shocking the air resistance. And the blade shard's shocking speed, the air resistance was very, very small. That was why even though it was heavier, its speed wasn't much slower than Luo Feng's flying knives. Even the air resistance is so small. If anyone had a blade like this, their speed would probably be many times faster. Luo Feng liked the blade shard even more. Luo Feng looked at the black battle uniform on his body. Black God Set. The Black God Set has always been famous for its shocking defense, extremely sturdy. I wonder if this blade shard can break through the Black God Set. Luo Feng had this thought in his mind. He couldn't hold it back anymore. With a thought, his black palm swiftly expanded, extending to a length of 3 meters. The blood-red blade shard floated not too far away. Is the blade shard's attack stronger, or the Black God Set's defense stronger? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Go! With a thought, the blood-red blade shard madly accelerated and became a blood-red beam of light. Due to its special refining method and structure, the air resistance produced by this blade fragment was shockingly low. His ears could barely hear the faint sound of the wind, and the blood-red ray of light had already cut the thumb of the big black palm. Chi, almost like slicing through a tree's root, with large amounts of water plants wrapped around the blade shard, it was obviously very difficult. Chi. Under extreme difficulty, the blade shard finally sliced through, and the black thumb of the black palm flowed like water, swiftly connecting with the black palm, almost as though it wasn't damaged at all. It really broke through? My God! Luo Feng's heart was filled with excitement. He knew that the Black God Set's defense definitely had its limits. It couldn't possibly be weakened by 90% against any attack. However, he, a Star Traveler Level 1 spirit reader, relying on this blade shard, actually managed to cut through the black god set. Even though it was only for a moment, the black god set immediately recovered. But Luo Feng remembered it clearly. Damn, that's vicious. However, this black god set's defense is very strong. I can cut through the SS-grade materials like tofu, but cutting through the black god set is extremely difficult. No wonder my mountain drill couldn't break through the black god set. Luo Feng was elated within. He understood that from today onwards in a life-and-death battle, if the third, fourth, and fifth representative were to face him, they would definitely die. However, against Thunder God and Hong, Luo Feng didn't have much confidence. I found the Muya crystal underground, and now I've found the blade shard. Luo Feng thought, could there be other treasures like other blade shards? With that thought, Luo Feng first apologized to Su Xian, who had cut off communication before continuing his search. About 15,600 m underground, within the thick rock layers. Target locked on. Already acquired outer shell shard. Change signal begin receiving. Lines of peculiar ripples undetectable by the naked eye changed, from deep underground in a straight line, passing through the rock layers, reaching Luo Feng who was searching underground. These ripples undetectable by the naked eye, equipment and spirit energy directly entered Luo Feng's consciousness. Luo Feng was slowly heading deeper underground. Luo Feng looked at his tactical communications watch. There was a call. Hello. Luo Feng answered. Luo Feng, it's me, Lu Ha. How's your search going? Have you found any Muya crystals? Many representatives are searching, but not a single strand of hair has been found. Lu Ha was unwilling to give up. I haven't found any Muya crystals either. This stuff relies on luck. Luo Feng laughed. I've discussed with the others, we're prepared to search for another 6 hours. If we still can't find it, we'll return. Lu Ha said, when that time comes, we'll return together. All right. Luo Feng smiled, ending the call. I've searched for so long, but haven't found any other blade shards. Let's continue to search underground. After such a long period of time, with the changes in the world and the movement of the continents etc., such a high-density weapon would probably have sunk deep underground. Luo Feng continued to head underground. At this time he was already 9,000 m underground, 9,000 m, 10,000 m, 11,000 m, 12,000 m, deeper and deeper. Finally 15,000 m. Target has arrived. Cabin door hidden close. In the depths of the earth, countless layers of rock had accumulated. However, at this moment, a thick piece of rock actually began to tremble and squirm. Then, with a whoosh like a bubble being blown open, that thick piece of rock actually directly turned into nothingness and disappeared. And in the place where the thick piece of rock was previously, a half-opened cabin door covered in dust appeared. Luo Feng was aimlessly heading deeper underground, only he had a feeling, if there really were other blade shards, they should be underground. Head this way. Luo Feng was purely on a whim, randomly deciding on a route as he headed deeper underground. However, the strange thing was, even though Luo Feng had randomly decided on a route, he was still getting closer and closer to the ancient cabin door, getting closer and closer. Until finally, rumble! Smashing through the shattered rocks, Luo Feng turned his head. Even though it was dark, with the vision of a star traveler, he could still clearly see that there was metal in the crevice. Luo Feng controlled his spiritual force and immediately pushed aside a large amount of rocks around him, creating a path that allowed two people to walk side by side. At the end of the path was a door made of a strange silver-white metal that was covered in dust. And this door, which was similar to the hatch of an autojet, was currently half-closed. What is this door? Luo Feng quivered. More than 10,000 meters underground, a dusty door appeared? Don't tell me this is an ancient ruin that has never been discovered on Earth before? Luo Feng was a bit excited. He knew that quite a few archaeological ruins have been discovered on Earth, and Hong and Thunder God have received the inheritance from the archaeological ruins. This may be one of the reasons why Hong and Thunder God are so much stronger than others. What door is this? Luo Feng's thoughts moved. Immediately 18 blades flew out of the soaring shuttle. The 18 blades became blurry blades of light, using the blades to smash into the rocks around the cabin door. Chi chi chi, the rocks were smashed and immediately cracked open, piece by piece falling off, revealing the same silver-white metal. This ancient civilization ruin might be dangerous. Luo Feng was like a cautious monkey. He wanted to eat a peach, but he was worried that there might be traps around it, so he walked closer step by step until he was around 20 meters away. Observe it with your spirit power. 20 m away from the cabin door, Luo Feng carefully controlled his spirit energy to penetrate through the cabin door, observing what was inside. That is. Luo Feng was stunned for a moment, after which his eyes became bloodshot from excitement. P.S. Chapter 1. Chapter 219. No wonder there were so many Muya crystals under Misty Island. Ruins, indeed discovering ruins is the fastest way to get rich. As Hong discovered so many ruins, he became the richest person on Earth. He could even create his own unique autojet. Luo Feng's black skin began to move, covering his entire body. This ruin was huge. He had to enter personally to check it out. You can't catch the wolf without risking it. Luo Feng's thoughts moved. The soaring shuttle immediately transformed into the mountain shield, with the shard floating around it. Luo Feng squinted his eyes, quietly walking towards the cabin door. Inside was a 12 m wide, 8 m deep tunnel. At the end of the tunnel was another wide tunnel to the left and right. Muya crystals. Luo Feng lowered his head and looked ahead. Right at the entrance of the cabin, crystals with a faint white glow all gathered together, 10, 20, 30. They were densely packed. The moment Luo Feng stepped through the cabin door, the thick rice fragrance made Luo Feng feel like he was suffocating. Luo Feng squatted down, swiftly collecting the floating Muya crystals into the black bag on his back. Picking up the Muya crystals, Luo Feng was still counting. 289 crystals. Placing the last crystal into his bag, Luo Feng could still feel his heart beating quickly. It was like a heavy hammer beating on a drum. Earth's various powers added up. The number of Muya crystals they've found in 3 days is only 42. Including the ones that haven't been made public, I estimate there's around 60 crystals. Luo Feng estimated a number. Every Muya crystal to the people of Earth was a huge fortune. Hong might have gotten 10 crystals, but he was already extremely happy. He even told Luo Feng the price of 1 Muya crystal was 20 stars. Now Luo Feng had picked up a total of 289 crystals at the cabin door. That was even more than all the powers on Earth combined. This is where the crystals are stored. How much could there be outside? There are 289 crystals at the cabin door. Who knows what else is inside? Luo Feng was anticipating. An archaeological ruin definitely wouldn't just have Muya crystals, however, with so many crystals at the cabin door, it meant that this archaeological ruin was extremely rich. Much richer than most of the other archaeological ruins on Earth. Following the entrance, Luo Feng carefully moved forward. The ground was already covered in a layer of dust. At the end of the entrance was a spacious passageway on the left and right. Just as Luo Feng stepped into the intersection, he looked left and right and was stunned. That. On Luo Feng's left side, the walls were made of a strange metal. However, at the moment there were huge fist marks on the walls, a total of 9 fist marks. On the ground of the passageway was a huge corpse that was half leaning against the passageway. Quantum computer, scan. Luo Feng immediately used the quantum computer to aim at the huge corpse. Target has no signs of life. Dead, the holobrain screen displayed these words. Yes, corpses. Luo Feng held his breath and carefully observed this gigantic corpse. This gigantic corpse's skin was dark and its arms were thick. It wore a special battle armor that was covered in engravings. Those engravings were countless times more complicated than the engravings on the soaring shuttle. Moreover, it was wearing a special glove on both of its fists, and its blood-red eyes were still wide open. Heavens! Luo Feng and the corpse's eyes met and his heart couldn't help but shudder, like an ant facing a giant dragon. No. Accurately speaking, it was like a normal mortal facing Pan Gu who created the world. Even though it was a dead corpse, that pair of eyes didn't have the sharpness from before. Even though it had been dead for who knows how many years. The remnants of its aura made Luo Feng's heart shudder. His back and forehead immediately broke out in cold sweat. Just what level of warrior is this? It's too terrifying. Luo Feng took a deep breath. Calm down. Calm down. Luo Feng realized that he couldn't meet the corpse's eyes. The moment he did, no matter how much he tried to calm himself down, he still couldn't help but feel fear. That was fear caused by the difference in life force. No matter how strong one's willpower was, it was useless. I won't look at its eyes. Luo Feng gradually calmed down. Looking past the corpse's eyes, he carefully observed, it's about 8 m tall. At first glance, it looked like a chimpanzee. However, there wasn't a single strand of fur on its skin. Smooth black skin. However, looking at its surroundings, it should have been dead for many, many years. However, its skin and hair didn't rot at all? Almost like it was alive? If it wasn't for the layer of dust covering the corpse, Luo Feng would have thought that this mysterious warrior had died not long ago. The corpse doesn't seem to have any wounds? How did it die? After observing for a while, Luo Feng could only shake his head. He couldn't guess anything at all. Let's go in and take a look. Luo Feng wasn't in a rush to examine the corpse. Instead, he walked past the huge corpse. Following this wide path, it was unobstructed. Beside the path, there were many forks. However, Luo Feng still followed the widest path forward. After walking for about 300 m, the path started to turn and a huge door appeared. This door was over 10 m wide and 10 m tall. It was half open. Luo Feng tried not to make a sound. He followed the door and entered. My God! Luo Feng couldn't help but to take in a deep breath. This was a super beautiful semicircle-shaped hall that was tens of meters tall and around 200 meters wide. What shocked Luo Feng the most was, there were 5 weird-looking corpses in the hall. No, more accurately, there were 6 corpses. Luo Feng used his quantum computer to test them. Indeed, none of them had any signs of life or energy. Because 5 of the corpses were extremely lifelike, there wasn't a single trace of decay. And the 6th corpse was only left with golden bones. Its skin and hair had long turned to dust. These 6 corpses. Luo Feng looked carefully. One of the corpses was very similar to the one at the entrance. It was slightly smaller and skinnier. Its body was similar to a huge black gorilla. It was about 6 m tall. This corpse was half kneeling on the ground. Its armor was already broken. Its body was covered in wounds. However, the wounds didn't have a single trace of decay. The second corpse was similar to a human. It was about 4 m tall. Its entire body was covered in black scales. There was a single horn on its forehead. At the same time, this corpse had a tail that was covered in scales. The third corpse was shaped like a human, except that it was 6 meters tall. Its skin looked like a turtle shell, just like the Rock Man in the old American movie Fantastic Four that Luo Feng was familiar with. However, this corpse was clearly much better looking than the Rock Man. The turtle shell was shiny. When put together, it was like a very intricate armor. The fourth corpse looked exactly like a human from Earth. Yellow skin, black hair. There was even a scar on his face. At this time, he was calmly sitting cross-legged on the ground. His body was covered in a layer of dust. Earthling? Chinese? Luo Feng stared at the fourth corpse. He was both curious and regretful. Luo Feng could feel that even though this person had been dead for a very, very long time. However, the aura emanating from the corpse was still enough to make one's heart tremble. This was a true peerless expert. Compared to Hong, Thunder God and the others, he was many times stronger than Luo Feng. And this person looked exactly like the Chinese. What made Luo Feng even more regretful was that he was already dead. This fifth corpse. Luo Feng looked suspiciously. The 4 corpses in the hall were all injured. However, they weren't fatal. And this 5th corpse was 5 m tall. Its entire body was a copper color. It was almost as though it was made from copper. There was a huge hole in the center of its chest. It was almost as though it was pierced by a hand. What was strange was, the hole in its chest was actually made of copper. There were no internal organs. Is this even human? Luo Feng shook his head. This 6th corpse is a bit more normal. Luo Feng looked at it. The 6th corpse was about 2 m tall. All that was left were its bones. The bones were golden. The most special thing about it was that it had a slightly curved horn on its head. It seemed to show that it was different from the humans of Earth. 6 corpses. Including the one at the entrance, there were a total of 7. Of these 7 corpses, only one was left with only its golden bones. The other 6 were completely undamaged. They were extremely lifelike. If they all died at the same time, this one must have been dead for a very long time. How come the other corpses haven't decayed at all? Luo Feng was suspicious. Time was a very powerful weapon. Under the flow of time, what kind of corpses wouldn't decay? He looked around the hall. The hall was empty. Only the ground and roof were occasionally caved in. It seemed to be caused by a battle. A sound resounded. Luo Feng was shocked. Immediately, the originally dark hall lit up. The blinding light shone down from above, illuminating the entire hall. At the same time, the strange light converged in the center of the hall. It began to form a black virtual human silhouette. It was only 1.45 m tall. It was like a child. There were 2 horns on its forehead. Its eyes were blood red. It was wearing a black robe. Luo Feng, you've finally come. The black-robed child looked at Luo Feng. His blood-red eyes were filled with joy. You are. Luo Feng looked carefully at the black-robed child. The other party was actually speaking Earth's language. It was Chinese. And it even knew his name. I've already waited for you for 50,000 years. The black-robed child shook his head. You humans on Earth are too weak. 50,000 years have passed before I've found a suitable person. 50,000 years? Luo Feng was slightly stunned. You're saying that this ruin has been here for 50,000 years. Don't tell me they've been dead for 50,000 years? Luo Feng pointed at the 6 strange corpses. Yes. They've already been dead for 50,000 years. The black-robed child looked at the 6 corpses in the hall. He shook his head and sighed. They were all peerless figures in the vast universe. They were all undying existences. Even time loses its color in front of them. Even in death, their corpses will remain undying forever. However, once the master dies, they'll be buried with him. The black-robed child looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, follow me to pay respects to the master. P.S. Update complete. I'm also calling for monthly and recommended votes. I hope that when everyone supports Tomato, they also support monthly or recommended vote. The more votes there are, the more passionate Tomato will be. Chapter 220. In the luxurious semicircular hall, the black-robed child pointed at the center of the floor. Suddenly, there was a hissing sound, and the metal floor suddenly parted, revealing a passage. Follow me. The black-robed child walked in front while Luo Feng followed behind. He wants me to follow him to worship some master? The master who died 50,000 years ago? Luo Feng's mind was filled with questions. However, it was obvious that with the uniqueness of this ruin, if it really wanted to harm him, it wouldn't even need to use any tricks. Luo Feng could only suppress the questions in his mind and follow step by step. Arriving at the tunnel, the black-robed child jumped down, and Luo Feng followed. The tunnel was around 30 meters deep. When the black-robed child and Luo Feng landed on the ground, the dark hall below lit up. Luo Feng looked around. This dark hall was empty, the walls were octagonal, and there was nothing in the hall. Open! The black-robed child pointed at the ground. Ka, the ground trembled slightly and began to crack open. Master's body was stored very carefully. You'll only be able to see it later. The black-robed child looked at Luo Feng, his blood-red pupils terrifying. Luo Feng, you're full of questions right now, right? Yes. Luo Feng didn't deny it. Let me introduce myself. My name is Babata. You can call me Devil Babata. Of course, this was how it was translated into Chinese on Earth. The universe language should be XXXX. Even though Luo Feng heard the last string of words the black-robed child said, he didn't understand it at all. Luo Feng froze. Demon Babata? The word demon here is a title I gave myself, the black-robed child continued. In essence, I am a kind of intelligence. AI? Luo Feng was curious. Was it similar to the intelligence of the bald crystal person in archaeological ruin number 9? However, the intelligence cores are divided into different levels. Some of the simple logic processing programs on Earth are not qualified to be called intelligent. To be able to be called an AI, at the very least, in terms of thinking, it wasn't inferior to humans. Only the artificial intelligence core of archaeological ruin number 9 that you know of can be considered a true artificial intelligence, the black-robed child said. As for me, although I'm essentially an AI, after following Master for countless years, I've already surpassed AI. Could be called an intelligent life. Just like you humans, there are also some animals, plants, and other life forms. The black-robed child's tone was a little excited. I also have all sorts of emotions. I also have the ability to cultivate and evolve. Moreover, Master once prepared a body for me. With that body, I made the name of Demon Babata spread throughout the vast universe. There was a hint of pride on the black-robed child's face. Luo Feng was shocked. Joy, anger, sorrow, and joy? Cultivate and evolve? How could this still be considered an intelligent system? It was indeed qualified to be called an intelligent life. According to him, intelligence could be divided into 4 levels. Logic processing program, intelligence comparable to a real human being, intelligence with feelings, intelligent life. 50,000 years ago, in the battle that destroyed the world and chased after countless galaxies, my body was destroyed, and I once again became an intelligent virtual existence. The black-robed child had a hint of sorrow. I can still become an intelligent virtual existence. But Master, he turned to look at the crystal coffin that was gradually emerging. The transparent crystal coffin slowly floated up from the ground. Luo Feng also looked carefully. The crystal coffin was 6 meters long, 4 meters wide, and 2 meters tall. The completely transparent crystal coffin emitted a terrifying chill. Luo Feng, who was wearing the Black God set and was a Star Traveler Level 1 stage spirit reader, couldn't help but to shiver. It was too cold. For it to be so cold, this crystal coffin probably wasn't made of crystal. However, Luo Feng didn't know what material it was made of. Let's call it the crystal coffin for now. Inside the crystal coffin laid a corpse. This corpse was around 3 meters tall. There were 2 flexible antennae on its forehead. Other than the antennae and its body being a bit bigger, it was exactly the same as a human on Earth. It was wearing a black robe that was faintly glowing. His long hair was loose and he was calmly lying on the crystal coffin, as if he was asleep. His appearance was extremely handsome. His long and narrow eyes seemed even more feminine, even though he was just a corpse. He had a strange charm that could shake one's soul. Master! The black-robed child grabbed the crystal coffin tightly with his white little hand. His expression was ferocious. Pa! Pa! 2 drops of tears fell. An AI virtual life form can cry? Luo Feng was a bit stunned. Kneel, the black-robed child fiercely turned his head towards Luo Feng. Luo Feng froze. I'm telling you to kneel because you're a member of Yun Mo planet. And my master is the master of Yun Mo planet. You should kneel, roared the black-robed child. There was a bit of madness in his eyes. However, right after, the black-robed child closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he calmed down quite a bit and smiled bitterly. I haven't communicated with anyone for 50,000 years, so I'm a bit irritable. If I didn't have any emotions and was just a simple AI, 50,000 years of loneliness wouldn't be much. However, after I developed emotions, these 50,000 years became even more difficult. Actually, my temper was pretty good in the past. Luo Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Babata, you said that this corpse is the master of Yun Mo planet. Could it be that he's Hu Yenbo? Luo Feng was a bit nervous. Yes, if you translate it into your Earth's Chinese, you can translate it as Hu Yenbo. The black-robed child's mood seemed to become more relaxed. Hu Yenbo, master of Yun Mo planet, Hu Yenbo. Luo Feng took in a deep breath. Just because I received a bit of his inheritance, I should worship him. Luo Feng directly knelt down and kowtowed 3 times in a row. As for this person, Hu Yenbo, even though Luo Feng has never seen him before, ever since he started learning Soaring Sky and heard of this name, he has always admired this senior. To be able to create so many spirit weapons, and the soaring shuttle is just one of them, just how amazing is that? And since he's using the soaring shuttle and learning Soaring Sky, it's only right for him to worship this senior. Luo Feng, the black-robed child, looked towards Luo Feng. Let me ask you, are you willing to become my master's disciple and become the future master of Yun Mo planet? Of course. Yun Mo planet has already been destroyed, and this power has already perished. Become my disciple. Luo Feng froze. Become the disciple of a dead person? Could it be that this super-powerful master of Yun Mo planet has some sort of inheritance treasure? The black-robed child, Babata, saw Luo Feng's hesitation. After waiting for 50,000 years for a suitable person, Babata seemed to be a bit anxious as he said, Luo Feng, my master, Hu Yenbo, is an eternal existence. From his birth to his death, he has been roaming the vast universe for over 6,000 eras. He is a true peerless fighter of the universe, over 6,000 eras. Luo Feng asked. 1 era is equivalent to your Earth's time. 10,081 years, said Babata. Senior Hu Yenbo has lived for over 60 million years? Luo Feng stared. Is 60 million years very long? Babata stared with his eyes wide open and said angrily, Master is an undying existence, an eternal existence. If it wasn't for the final battle, Master could have lived forever. In the vast universe, there are many who have lived for over 100 million years. There are even some undying existences whose lifespans are even longer than Earth. Luo Feng blinked twice. Earth's time? Some powerful fighter's time? Luo Feng, using the words of your Earth, you're just a frog in a well. Babata's face was filled with anger, but his white little face seemed very cute. You've been to archaeological ruin number 9, but your so-called archaeological ruin number 9 is just one of the many surveillance bases under Yun Mo planet. There's very, very little information about it. Today, I'll give you a lesson and let you know the vastness and mystery of this vast universe. Babata raised his little head. According to you Earthlings, the galaxy you're in is called the Milky Way. Do you know how many galaxies are there in the vast universe? Luo Feng remembered that when he was in school, he once learned that the number of galaxies discovered on Earth has already exceeded 10 billion. The universe is indeed vast and boundless. One galaxy is already incomparably huge, and 10 billion galaxies is an astronomical number. And this is only a portion of the universe discovered by humans. Tens of billions of galaxies? Luo Feng was a bit nervous as he gave an approximate number with uncertainty. Babata's eyebrows twitched and then said, "For you to be able to give this answer is already good enough. In the vast universe, there are countless races and countless lives. Among them, the human race is one of the most powerful races in the universe. The human race that I'm talking about isn't the narrow understanding of your Earth. For example, in some of your Earth's games and novels, the so-called orcs and elves, etc. are actually a branch of humanity." Luo Feng could only listen carefully. Your Earth, in the Milky Way galaxy, has a total of around 200 billion stars. The number of planets is even more frightening. However, among the countless planets, only around 210,000 have a large amount of humans living on them, said Babata. The Milky Way galaxy, the Beta galaxy, and the other neighboring 8 big galaxies form the Silver Blue Empire, a beginner-level civilization of the universe. 8 galaxies, 1 empire? Luo Feng couldn't believe it. Also, you said that there are around 210,000 planets in the Milky Way galaxy that have a large amount of humans living on them. Holy! Earth hasn't even discovered a single one yet. Is that weird? Even though the Silver Blue Empire is a beginner-level civilization, it is still a beginner-level civilization of the universe. Their level of civilization far surpasses yours. Even if they send an interstellar fleet to your Earth space, you probably wouldn't even be able to find them, said Babata disdainfully. Under normal circumstances, for a galaxy as big as the Milky Way galaxy, if it develops normally, a galaxy will give birth to a universe-level fighter. Of course, if there's a powerful teacher to guide them, the efficiency will be higher. However, according to my calculations, the Silver Blue Empire, which controls the 8 big galaxies, probably has more than 10 universe-level fighters, which is already not bad, of course, a beginner-level civilization of the universe. In front of my master, they're like ants, said Babata confidently. P.S. Here's the first chapter. Tomato wants 2 recommendation votes and monthly votes from everyone. Please support Tomato. Yep, continue writing the second chapter. Chapter 221. A low-level civilization in the universe is like an ant in front of the master of Unimo planet? Luo Feng was stunned by this sentence. This Silver Blue Empire is a vast country that controls the Milky Way galaxy, Beta galaxy, and the other 8 galaxies. Just the Milky Way galaxy alone has over 210,000 planets with large amounts of humans living on them. Just how large of a country is this? Compared to them, Earth is like a drop in the ocean, incomparably tiny. However, such a powerful country doesn't seem to be much in Babata's mouth. Don't doubt it. You can't even imagine how powerful the master is. Babata's eyes had a bit of respect. I just said, the Milky Way galaxy, Beta galaxy, and the other 8 galaxies form the Silver Blue Empire, a low-level civilization country. According to the universe map, your Milky Way galaxy is a part of the Black Dragon Mountain starfield. The Black Dragon Mountain starfield contains a total of over 8,000 galaxies, and the one that controls the Black Dragon Mountain starfield is one of the better middle-level civilizations in the universe. The Black Dragon Mountain Empire. The Black Dragon Mountain Empire directly controls over 6,000 galaxies, and at the same time, over 500 low-level civilizations countries. And the Silver Blue Empire is just one of the countries of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Babata spoke very fluently. Luo Feng was a bit stunned. Black Dragon Mountain starfield? Includes over 8,000 galaxies? Just over 500 countries? The Silver Blue Empire is just one of its countries? Don't look at me like that. Even though the Black Dragon Mountain Empire is quite powerful, they still have to be respectful when they meet my master. Babata said, as for the strong, if it develops normally, there would be 1 Sector Lord level fighter in 1,000 galaxies. Stop! Yelled Luo Feng. What's wrong? Babata looked towards Luo Feng. What's a sector lord level? From what I learned in Archaeological Ruin Number 9. Fighters are split into student, star traveler, star level, universe level, and fighters above the universe level, asked Luo Feng. After hearing Babata's explanation, Luo Feng felt like he was looking up at a tall mountain, only to realize that there's always a higher mountain. The universe is vast, and there are countless fighters. Oh, let me give you some general knowledge, said Babata. These are fighter and spirit reader levels. Don't talk to me about students. Students don't have the right to be called fighter or spirit reader. It's mainly split into the star traveler level, universe level, domain lord and sector lord. These 5 great levels, surpassing the sector lord, is undying. Planetary state, it's enough to roam the universe as a thug, servant, cannon fodder. Babata was very disdainful. Stellar level, staying on a border planet in the universe, is also considered a big shot. But on some important planets, it's better to keep a low profile. Universe level, a warrior, he can be considered a warrior. After all, under normal circumstances, a galaxy would only produce one universe level. If you join a universe country, you can easily obtain tens of planets as your territory. A region lord is equivalent to an overlord. Elementary civilizations in the universe wouldn't dare to provoke them, so they could build their own forces. In the vast universe, any universe country would go all out to rope in a domain lord. Realm lord, tsk, a local tyrant. It would be a piece of cake for them to take over an entire galaxy as their territory. This sector lord level warrior has definitely reached the internal world level, controlling a world. Luo Feng, if you can become a sector lord warrior, if you have no ambitions, you can roam the universe freely. Babata looked at Luo Feng with a smile that didn't seem like a smile. Luo Feng listened carefully. According to Archaeological Ruin Number 9, only one universe level is born on countless planets, so Luo Feng's chances are slim. From what he heard, above the universe level is a domain lord. Above the domain lord, there's still a sector lord. One can only imagine how difficult it is. Above the sector lord is the undying. Babata's expression became serious. No matter if it's the star traveler level, universe level, domain lord, or sector lord, they all have a limited lifespan. A star-level warrior can live for at most 1 era, a universe level can live for at most 10 eras, a domain lord can live for 100 eras, and a sector lord can live for 1,000 eras. Of course, according to your Earth's time, a sector lord can live for a bit more than 10 million years. Even the existence of a sector lord will decay under the pressure of time. Only those who surpass a sector lord are undying. Undying fighters are also called eternal fighters, or deities. Babata's eyes were bright. Once you become an undying fighter, you can have an unlimited lifespan. Master. He's an undying fighter. Luo Feng held his breath. Undying fighter? Star traveler, star, universe, domain lord, sector lord, undying. Undying fighters have countless special abilities. Even a space rail cannon that can destroy a galaxy can instantly destroy a galaxy. However, it can't even harm an undying fighter. Babata smiled. Now you should understand why I said. A beginner civilized country in the universe is just like an ant in front of my master. Luo Feng's blood was boiling. An attack that can instantly destroy a galaxy? Can't even harm an undying fighter? Don't think too far ahead. Normally, only one sector lord will be born in 1,000 galaxies. Luo Feng, even with my master's inheritance and my help, you can barely become a sector lord after 100,000 years. However, to become an undying fighter, the chances are almost zero. Babata shook his head. Sigh, you humans on Earth are indeed too weak. You lose to others at the starting line. It's hard for you to achieve anything big. Hard. Luo Feng couldn't help but to say, Babata, give me some face, hee. Babata grinned, revealing his two little fangs. I only said almost 0. Actually, there's another way that can speed up your training by 10 times, 100 times. What way? Luo Feng asked curiously. Take over. Babata smiled mysteriously. Take over. Of course Luo Feng understood the meaning of this word. Babata smiled. You should have realized that when you humans on Earth produce some of your so-called fighters, the chances of your descendants becoming fighters are much higher, right? Luo Feng nodded. The descendants of fighters have an even higher chance of becoming fighters. Since the genes of their parents are already perfect, the genes of their sons won't be that bad either. This is a type of evolution, Babata said. If you humans on Earth are given 10,000 years, 100,000 years, then every human on Earth can become a student-level fighter, and in the vast universe, there are a few perfectly evolved human races, Babata said emotionally. For example, the top 10 bloodlines of humanity. The Manka people. Babata sighed. For example, the top 10 bloodlines of the human race. The Manka people. Even though the Manka people are few in number, every Manka person is born as a star traveler when they are a baby, a star traveler when they are a child, a star traveler when they are young, and a universe level when they are young. That's the domain lord level. That's one of the most elite bloodlines of humanity. Luo Feng was dumbfounded. The sun. Comparing people to people, it's really infuriating. All the humans on Earth train with all their might, suffer, think of all sorts of methods, great encounters, good teachers. Finally, an absolute genius stepped into the star level. And the others? After eating and drinking, they reach the domain lord level, able to destroy a planet with a flip of their hand. This is too unfair. Luo Feng didn't know what to say. Unfair? That's because the ancestors of the Manka people train hard, allowing their bloodlines to continuously improve and perfect. Only then can their bloodlines stabilize to that level. Babata said unhappily. Just like Earth, if there aren't large amounts of powerful fighters, then the next generation can forget about rising up. Luo Feng nodded slightly, the anger in his chest dissipating. Right, only when the ancestors are stronger and their genes are better and more perfect, can the next generation's talent be even more shocking. A Manka person, how many times faster can they train than you humans on Earth? Can you imagine? Babata sneered. The entire Milky Way galaxy has over 210,000 planets with people living on them, the population is countless, it's already pretty good to have a universe-level fighter. The Manka people only reach the domain lord level when they reach adulthood. That's why. If you want to become an undying fighter, there's only one way, and that is wait until you get stronger and steal the body of a powerful bloodline race. Take the body of a powerful bloodline. Babata turned to look at the crystal coffin. Do you see it? Master's original body, even though it was a bit better than you humans on Earth, it wasn't much stronger. After that, Master coincidentally used a body-stealing technique and stole the body of a youth from the Lonka clan. The Lonka clan, among the countless bloodlines of humanity, can reach the universe level when they reach adulthood. With this body, Master's training speed immediately increased by leaps and bounds, so fast that it's scary. Even so, Master went through a lot of hardships to become an undying fighter. Even for the Manka people and Lonka clan, to become undying, it's hard. Babata grinned at Luo Feng. What, mind the body stealing? Can't bear to part with your own body? Luo Feng admitted, indeed, he couldn't bear to part with his own body. You're so stupid. Babata curled his lips helplessly, his blood-red eyes looked at Luo Feng with disdain, and you're a spirit reader, don't you know that a person's foundation is the soul? I won't say any more. It's not that easy to steal anyway, you can only steal the souls of those weaker than you. If you meet a stronger one, you'll be killed. Babata shook his head. It's a pity that you humans are too weak. It's rare to see someone with a brain expanse of 22, so I can't ask for too much. It should be 21, right? Said Luo Feng. Babata patted his little head. My God, you're as pure as a piece of white paper. Do you think a spirit reader's brain expanse won't increase for the rest of his life? When you were at the student level 9 stage, your brain expanse was 21. However, breaking through to the Star Traveler level is a leap in life, so your brain expanse increased a bit, reaching 22. However, don't be too happy. This number can only be said in the Milky Way galaxy. Babata shook his head in disdain. Some powerful planets, or some core planets of the universe countries, have a brain expanse of 30, or even 40, when they're at the student level. There's no choice, I have no choice. More accurately speaking, I can only choose from Earth, pick a tall one from the short ones. I can only let me, the great demon Babata, help a star traveler brat like you. Babata raised his head. Update complete. The vast universe is beginning to unveil its mysterious veil, hazy, everyone can finally see a little. At the same time, at the end, he quietly pulled up his monthly votes and recommendation votes. Chapter 222. I admit that my starting line is low. Luo Feng said. The difference in his heart was obvious. On Earth, especially in terms of the martial arts, he was always a genius. Since young, he was the most outstanding amongst his peers in the dojo. In high school, he was also the most outstanding. Becoming a fighter, entering the global elite training camp, he was still the most outstanding. 21 years old, becoming a star traveler, one of the 6 investigators. He could even go head-to-head with the 3rd chairman. However, in Babata's words, his own talent was pitifully low. However, Luo Feng understood that what he said was right, it was just that he placed it in the vast universe. Babata, if I don't steal, how long will it take me to reach the star level? How long will it take to reach the universe level? Luo Feng asked. 50 years to reach the star level, I have confidence. Babata said confidently. 500 years to reach the universe level, no problem. As for becoming a domain lord, with the preparations my master left for his disciples before he died, 5,000 years. 10,000 years, that's about right. I have full confidence in these 4 levels. As for a sector lord, spending 100,000 years, that's barely enough, it might even take longer. 50 years to reach the star level? 500 years to reach the universe level? Luo Feng blinked twice. Time seemed to drag on. From birth till now, Luo Feng had only been born for over 20 years. 500 years, that was too long. In the 4 great novels Journey to the West, Sun Wukong was suppressed under the 5-Finger Mountain for only 500 years. China's culture only had 5,000 years. Too long. What, you think it's too long? The black-robed child Babata immediately jumped up in anger, revealing his fangs, roaring, Luo Feng, you have to understand, the entire Milky Way galaxy that your Earth is in, normally only produces 1 universe level. You think the universe level is so easy to reach? And your talent is so low. If I wasn't trapped on Earth, looking at the universe, countless geniuses from different races would kneel down and beg me, Babata, to become Master's disciple. You know who Master is? Unimo Planet's Master. Not just an undying being, he's the strongest amongst the undying. Master has a total of 9 undying servants under him. Looking at the universe, he's a medium-level civilization, such a huge country. Even when facing Master, he's extremely respectful, not daring to say a word. Even the advanced civilizations in the universe treat their masters with respect. Master, that means you can do whatever you want in the universe. Do you understand? With Master's meticulous arrangements for you, to be able to let such a weak talent like you, 50 years star level, 500 years universe level, 5,000 years, 10,000 years domain lord, 100,000 years to reach sector lord level. You think it's too long? Babata roared in anger. You really don't know how lucky you are. Luo Feng actually understood. After all, at archaeological ruin number 9, they determined that Luo Feng had no hope of entering the universe level. Not to mention region lords and realm lords. One had to know that there would only be one sector lord in 1,000 galaxies. In these 1,000 galaxies, the number of human geniuses that were more talented than Luo Feng numbered in the trillions. Countless of them couldn't even become sector lords. The difficulty of becoming a realm lord could be imagined. Babata, what did you just say, 9 undying slaves? Luo Feng stared. Don't tell me those undying corpses outside are all slaves. 50,000 years without any signs of decay, even their hair and skin were alive. Luo Feng could guess that other than the golden skeletons, the others were all undying. Who would have thought? They were slaves. Babata raised his head, his face full of pride. Do you understand Master's greatness now? This UNMO planet ship has 7 corpses. One of them has rotted to the point of only being a skeleton. The other 6 are all undying. Babata looked at Luo Feng. You should have seen, one of the 6 undying corpses has a huge hole in its chest, without any organs, right? Yes. Luo Feng nodded. That's an enemy, an automaton undying. Babata sneered, however. He's just sending himself to his death. Does he think the heavily injured master is easy to mess with? Automaton? Luo Feng quietly memorized. That was a race completely different from humans. Their bodies weren't made of flesh and blood. The other 5 undying corpses were all Master's slaves. Master actually had a total of 9 undying level slaves. It's just that battle back then, it involved too many peerless warriors of the universe. Master's 4 undying level slaves perished, and Master's soul was also injured, losing all signs of life. Even this powerful UNMO planet ship was heavily damaged. Babata shook his head. Luo Feng was shocked as he heard. 4 undying warriors perished? The UNMO planet Master's life force severed? Actually, Master has already reached the point where even if his body and soul are destroyed, as long as there's a single cell fragment, he can revive. It's just that the enemy back then was even stronger than Master. His methods were too vicious. Babata shook his head. Was he human? Luo Feng was shocked beyond words. His body and soul were destroyed, even his soul was gone. As long as there's a single cell fragment, he can revive? Don't be shocked, at Master's level, any cell fragment will have a soul imprint, spirit imprint. Of course he can revive. Babata was very proud, and Master's life preservation methods aren't just limited to this. There are many other methods. It's a pity that in the vast universe, over the endless years, there are indeed people stronger than Master. Luo Feng nodded. There's always a higher mountain. You can't be too arrogant at any time. Babata, you said that my Earth belongs to the low-level universe civilization, Silver Blue Empire. And the Silver Blue Empire is a middle-level universe civilization that controls over 8,000 galaxies, the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Then what about the higher-level civilizations? Luo Feng asked. Babata smiled. Luo Feng, the map of the universe, one star field, has about 1,020,000 galaxies. Of course, there are some extremely small starfields, and some extremely huge starfields. The Black Dragon Mountain starfield has over 8,000 galaxies. And above the starfield is the starfield, the largest unit in the universe. One starfield, on average, has about 10,000 starfields, which is about 100 million galaxies. Of course, different starfields have different sizes. Your Earth belongs to the Ganwu Great Starfield, Black Dragon Mountain Starfield, Milky Way, Babata said, and in the Ganwu star region, there are over 13,000 star fields under its jurisdiction, with over 100 million galaxies. It's ruled by the high-level civilization, the Ganwu Universe country. There are close to 1,000 middle-level civilization countries under its jurisdiction. This is considered the highest level of humanity's universe country in the vast universe. Luo Feng took a deep breath. the highest level of country in the universe? You only have 13,000 star regions under your jurisdiction? Countries like the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, close to 1,000? Low-level civilizations like the Silver Blue Empire, probably as many as grains of sand. No wonder the master of the UNMO planet viewed them as ants. High-level civilizations, middle-level civilizations, beginner-level civilizations. Luo Feng quietly memorized these 3 levels. My Earth belongs to the Ganwu Great Starfield, Black Dragon Mountain Starfield, Milky Way. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Babata shouted. The Ganwu Universe country has existed for an extremely long time. The vastness of its territory, even an undying being can't travel through it in an endless amount of time. Luo Feng nodded. The Milky Way's diameter is over 100,000 light-years. The Ganwu Universe country has over 100 million galaxies. Just how huge is it? Luo Feng. Babata looked at Luo Feng. In the vast universe, the human race is just one of the top races. Do you know why humans can be at the top? Luo Feng was curious. Strength in numbers. Babata emphasized. Humans are split into many races. The Manka people and Lonka people all have extremely powerful bloodlines. However, there are tens of thousands of bloodlines in the human race. There are strong ones and weak ones. Humans like Earth belong to the lower ranks, don't feel inferior. There are many in the universe who are even weaker than you humans. There are many races in the human race, the number is even greater, hence we are one of the top races in the universe. Other than the top races, there are many other special life forms and races in the universe. These life forms and races, don't ever think that they are easy to mess with. It's just that their numbers are too few, hence their position in the universe isn't that high. If we're talking about individual strength, there are many races and life forms that are shocking. All sorts of weird, tens of thousands of life forms, very unique. Most of them are weaker in battle, but there are also many that are stronger. The Manka people of the human race, when they mature, they become domain lords, one of the most abnormal of the human race. However, in the vast universe, there are very few special life forms that are even stronger than the Manka people. One of the most famous is the space beast. The space beast, once it matures to its peak, can rely on its body to roam the universe. Babata said. Luo Feng was secretly shocked. The space beasts are split into many types. The weakest are star travelers when they are just born, star travelers when they mature, and universe level when they reach their peak. These are the weakest space beasts. Some are similar to the Manka people, star travelers when they are born, star travelers when they mature, star travelers when they mature, universe level when they are young, and domain lords when they reach their peak. The most terrifying space beasts, star travelers when they are young, universe level when they mature, domain lords when they mature, and sector lords when they reach their peak. These are the pinnacle of the universe. Babata looked at Luo Feng. Undying fighters cannot be reached through bloodlines, hence the bloodlines that can become sector lords are the pinnacle of bloodlines. Humans, the pinnacle of bloodlines, can grow to domain lords. It's considered very outstanding. In the universe, there are bloodlines that can directly grow to sector lords, that's heaven-defying. Of course, defying the heavens will be jealous. Their numbers are shockingly low. Babata laughed. Just like the space beasts, the pinnacle of bloodlines. Flaming Star Beast. The Flaming Star Beast is born within a star. Flames and high temperatures cannot harm it. Normally, it has to swallow many stars, spending many years before it can become a sector lord. Once it becomes a sector lord, it doesn't need to swallow stars anymore. A flaming star beast has an extremely long lifespan. However, from birth to death, wandering the universe, it probably won't even meet a second flaming star beast. There are a few other life forms that are similar to the space beast. Without exception, there are pitifully few. Babata shook his head, however, If you meet such life forms in the universe in the future, you have to be careful. Luo Feng nodded. My God, the space beasts that eat stars, they're really heaven-defying. It's a pity that you can't even meet one of them in your entire life. Their numbers are really few. Overall, there are countless human races in the universe, and countless other strange life forms. In the vast universe, even undying fighters find it hard to understand. Even as strong as my master, he would fall. Babata looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, before he died, he said, no matter how strong you are, you must always respect the universe. Luo Feng nodded. The master of the Yun Mo planet, the 9 undying slaves, still died. Luo Feng, you decide whether or not to take my master as your teacher. Babata looked at Luo Feng. If you do, you'll be able to receive the many gifts my master prepared for his disciples. Of course, you can choose not to take me as your teacher. Babata smiled, revealing 2 sharp teeth. If you don't, to protect my master's secret, I can only kill you. You choose, the choice is yours. P.S. Chapter 1 here.